This program deals with devil worship and satanic beliefs. It contains explicit scenes and descriptions of violent crimes and rituals.
Americans are asking, who attacked our country?
You have declared a subliminal jihad against the United States. Can you tell us why?
Everything pertaining to what's happening has never come to the surface. The world will never know the true facts of what occurred, my motives.
And night fell on a different world.
And Iblis is thinking, I should be getting this position, not Adam, and this guy is created from dirt.
And how does the army feel about you being head of the temple of Set?
And the conspiracy theorists can say what they will, but
I want you to give me power over Adam, and I want you to give me soldiers and minions and all of these things.
The people's hands that had so much to gain and had such an ulterior motive for putting a position on me will never let the true facts become born to the world.
And I want you to be able to give me the ability to whisper into the hearts of mankind.
And who was the Grotto leader? Don't remember his name. You don't remember the name of a person who involved you in murder?
Now these people are in very high positions, Jack. Yes.
Welcome back to Subliminal Jihad, episode 100. I am your co-host, Dimitri.
I'm Khalid.
And we are with you all here on New Year's Day, 2020.
I was thinking, how serendipitous, our 100th episode falling right on New Year's Day, like pretty conveniently, like we didn't really necessarily plan for that. We realized at the last second, actually, like, oh, it's New Year's Day. Should we
literally like yesterday, like, hey, it's New Year's Day. Should we do this? And, I thought, but you made the point that everyone's probably just hanging around doing nothing on New Year's Day.
Usually New Year's Eve is when people,
but yeah, but speaking as the coof half of this podcast, I think maybe there's a little bit of underestimation
we set a certain time.
of
wow.
And the Eastern Standard Time privilege that some people were unconsciously acting down that, like it's 5 o'clock.
Well, I wanted to do this for I was like, we should really do it old SJ style, make it a nice long episode, but now it's going to be short because we're like an hour and a half late.
Okay. My voice is a little bit raspy. I did a little bit of karaoke last night.
I'm sure. Yeah, at least you don't have to live with that always. I'm sure it still sounds better than mine too. The audience.
Okay, so today, for the first time, we have an agendaless episode, but I suppose not fully agendaless. It's more like
it's also not really the first time because it's kind of like our first episode, but we do have more of a plan than for our first episode.
We do. We these are like intermediate materials for an advancement of the theory of the subliminal jihad.
Yeah.
And the advancement of that theory, I guess we decided, was to have people call in radio style.
We're gonna try to do an Art Bell, George Norrie type call in, situation. Yeah.
So we put some invites out. Nobody. I wish I could read a phone number and then people literally call in, but that's not how this actually works.
No,
so I'm going to be posting a link into the Grotto, and then we're just going to see who pops up in the waiting room and talk to some of the folks out there about how they're spending their new day and what kind of subliminal jihads are they waging. Lives, or plan to wage this year.
Yeah, hopefully someone calls in at all. This is pretty cool. I like this format, the anticipation, will anyone call in?
It's exciting.
Who will?
I have no idea. As Alex Jones would say, teleprompter free. Teleprompter free, folks.
Right.
Really, I mean, I guess it's always teleprompter free on in the SJ house, but truly, I don't know. All right, should I hit return?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's do it.
I thought you already did. I was like,
All right. No. All right, there we go.
All right,
we're gonna see.
Wow.
Anybody?
One tap mobile. Yeah.
One tap mobile.
Wow, you actually can dial in with a number. You could read out a number, but obviously this isn't really live, so.
Nobody who would potentially call in is hearing us right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is also a strange kind of thing. A dynamic to deal with. I'll just tell everybody that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could theoretically, we do have a voice channel on
Oh,
the grotto, what we
you're
could
right.
connect to.
Maybe we could connect to it.
Yeah, maybe we should do that.
Let's try it. See, this is
Okay.
live. This is raw radio. All right.
Yeah.
We got 2 people in the waiting room.
Wow. All right.
Exciting.
Well, let's let someone in.
We got, let's see. I don't know what order they go in. I see we got L and we got Young Howler. I think
right.
L's at the top of the list. So
all right, we'll let in. Yeah, whatever.
This is exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
Who could
first caller?
Hello, L. Are you there? Oh wait, I have to wait a second.
Audio. This is very heartfelt. Like.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey. Hello, L.
Hello, L. How are you? Welcome to Subliminal Jihad.
Thank you so much.
You're our first ever Subliminal Jihad caller.
I'm astounded. I thought I was just going to be listening, but lovely to be on air. Hi.
Hi.
Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, this is fun. As you can see, we're figuring it out for the first time. And we opened the voice grotto. I guess like don't talk if you're in the voice grotto. just listen. I don't know. But
there might be a way to like restrict the voice grotto. I don't know. Whatever. Like
New Year's Day.
Mute yourself if you're in the voice grotto, please.
Very sorry.
Yeah.
Very
Dimitri's
sorry.
hungover on coof juice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Elle didn't know they were going to be on the air.
Well, okay. So this is Elle. You're our first person on here. I think I guess keeping in like the Art Bell tradition, like what's on your mind? Is there something you want to talk about with the broader grotto audience, or do you just want to chill? Because that's okay too.
Elle, have we lost you?
No,
I hope not. Yeah, no video.
Oh wait, Elle dropped out, and now they're dropping back in.
They're
So
dropped out and they drop back in. All right.
Apologies to Young Howler. You're next.
Well,
on the
good
line.
thing this isn't actually live because, like, we can actually make some edits.
Elle, hello.
Yeah, hello.
Elle's
Elle.
back.
Yeah.
Hey.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah, you're on
All
video.
right.
I see you. Word. What's up?
On the video
what's-
chat.
So what's on your mind, Al? Any? Yeah.
I feel like I've been curious about y'all's take. I put this in the questions thing recently. Sus Rudolf Steiner, sus anthroposophy.
We talked about this in the past a little bit. Someone asked us, they were sending their kids like a Waldorf school, and they asked us like what our take on Steiner was. I don't know. I feel like I've been hearing like a lot of Rudolf Steiner stuff like related to vaccines. Like apparently he was like one day like they will put a chip in us with a vaccine, and like everyone is like posting it like, see, like they told you what they were gonna do. I remember reading about like his belief in gnomes and like Ar-Rahman and things like that. I mean, he's like incredibly he's incredibly sus in terms of like his beliefs. We read like some passages on it on a past Q&A. I think it was one of the earliest Q&As. I think we got this.
I think it might have been in the middle. Yeah. But particularly about Waldorf schools today and like whether you should send your kid to one.
Because they still do learn about gnomes and shit, like they teach, and it's like, at least there's an allegory. It's like, well, yeah.
Oh no, I'm a veteran of the Waldorf school, and it gets weird as hell. There's like.
Did you learn about gnomes?
I learned about gnomes, maybe a polytheistic version of a creation tale, but like a lot of Saint Michael, a lot of lesser angels, dress codes that sort of like vibe with some of his occulted race science stuff. A lot of like, I don't know, anthroposophy also in a whole like, it wasn't white enough, it wasn't Euro enough, like take on theosophy.
Yeah,
it's
like, that's it.
If theosophy isn't fucked up enough for you, I don't know what you want.
Yeah. So they had dress codes that like corresponded to people's races, like, or
no. So you weren't allowed to wear black as a color because it like absorbed all the colors.
Oh, okay.
But also this like finding out later his other talks.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
science.
I feel like if you have darker skin, then that would not bode well for you if like the idea of wearing black clothes was considered bad.
There's some verboten talks that he gave.
Was it encouraged for you to wear white? Like, were there particular colors that were encouraged, or like just anything that's not black is fine.
Anything that's not black, no branding, that kind of thing. A little bit like classic private school, whatnot, but also this is like rinky-dink rural Waldorf, so maybe not quite some of the Silicon Valley fancy shit.
Interesting. And do you think the people at the school, were they like practicing Steinerians or anthroposophists?
So yeah, you don't make it very long as a teacher if you don't subscribe and go to their special schools, and even their like student tracking. You have to assign seating based off of like if you're a melancholic student or a sanguine student.
Right, they do the four
phlegmatic
humors.
student.
Yeah, that's so
a
crazy.
phlegmatic student.
What humor were you?
I don't know. They don't tell you. They don't tell
Oh
the parents.
wow, they
That
don't
is
tell
sus.
you.
That's
Wow,
sus.
that's so sus.
He's like, there's some of the talks that he gave. He's like, it's imperative for anthroposophy that they don't find out that this is what Waldorf is based
Wow.
off of.
Oh
That
my
reminds me of
God.
the TM thing where they give you your own personalized mantra, but it's like chosen from like 16 like, different mantras that are based on like how old you are, and they're like,
Oh,
it's
really?
just for
Oh, I
you.
didn't know
Yeah. That's something that, yeah.
Interesting. And of course, yeah, that's got some Scientology levels kind of resonance, I guess. Of don't tell them about like Koizinu, like don't tell them about the volcanoes, and
don't tell them that we're sorting them by their phlegma. Anything that like is like this, we have to keep secrets from the students, like about how we're structuring things, like seems weird to me. Like,
I mean, I feel like there's a
I don't know,
a
like
target like of the Vatican floating by right now. That
what's the polytheistic creation story that you learned?
So it's like it's almost a little bit Gnostic of like
So is theosophy really.
Right, like the greater and lesser angels that get kicked out and stuff. It was just sort of like taught, broadly a Christian Jewish-ish creation story, but tucked amongst a lot of other mythological philosophies. So I know a lot of Greek mythology, a lot of Norse mythology. Very uncritical look at the cool stuff going on with Hinduism, and
interesting.
Certain approaches to Buddhism and stuff. Just that, because Steiner's whole bit was training people to quantifiably explore the spirit realm, by sneaking that into a child's education.
Yeah. It's really amazing how, we were just talking about, I think our Tom Mosher episode hasn't really come out yet, but we were just talking about how like, it's always like everything but Islam, like not, like Christianity, like it's okay. Like, Hinduism is so wise, like all these Eastern philosophies, but like, that's just like, evil. It's like really in the same like lineage of these old like Christian polemics, but they, are sort of embracing these things that aren't a threat to them, or they don't conceive as a threat.
Ain't nothing new.
But that's crazy. So the gnomes, I recall, they like are kind of like earth spirits that like sort of have custody over like they help plants grow and things like that. Is that what they teach? Like, they say like.
I got in at the second grade, so it was slightly after.
I see. That's like one of the foundational, you can't get anywhere.
There's stages. You aren't allowed to read before you're like one, but
that's
everything's
amazing.
Like flowy silks and gnomes, and you make soup and stuff. A lot of did a lot of agriculture stuff. Grew wheat, threshed it into bread, that kind of thing. But my sister had a lot of gnomes. A lot of yeah.
I mean, teaching children agriculture sounds nice, as opposed to what like lots of other activities you could do with them. If they have to weave it into a story about gnomes. Yeah. Well, I guess
there is cool stuff. It does feel like a yearning for, a white European ideal in a way that feels like a bummer. But there is
return with
cool
a V.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Return with a V.
Right on.
Definitely.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, okay, cool. We got some other people on the line, so I think we're gonna.
That's my
20 minutes just
tirade.
flew by. Thank you very much for calling in with that. And I think I'm already realizing that everybody we have on, it's like could easily go for like an hour and a half.
yeah. Right.
We could talk with you the entire rest of the episode, but we got these waiting room people. So
of course, lovely to chat.
But lovely chatting with you, Elle.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Watch
Year.
out for the gnomes.
Of course.
Beware.
All right. So we got next caller, Young Howler.
Young Howler.
I see they've jumped in and out of the chat a few times, but they were first.
A very old school Grotto head. Someone has been in there for a while, I think, Young Howler.
Connecting to audio right now.
Connecting to audio. All right, connected. Young Howler. Are you there?
Let me see. Oh, Young Howler, I think, was on Discord.
He's definitely on Discord.
Yes. Let's see.
But he's muted on Discord.
Young Howler, can you hear us?
We're trying to make it happen.
We are trying.
We want to hear what you have to say, Young Howler, but
we want to hear you howl like a dog man.
No, the mute's still up, I guess.
The mute is still up.
Maybe Young Howler is just trying to listen. I don't get it.
I'm not. Young Howler jumped in pretty early. You know what? I think we're just gonna move on because this is live radio. Right. Young Howler, you're still gonna be in line, but for now, I think we're gonna kick it to Matt K Ultra, who is
raise your hand. Use the raise hand feature if you ever figure out how to work your audio.
Oh no! It has a thing where it like wants you to like ban them forever. You can't just remove them.
Well, you can leave Young Howler in, I guess.
I'll leave them in.
They can raise their hands.
But we're throwing Matt K Ultra in the mix.
Okay, let's see if we can get Matt
Hopefully,
K Ultra in here.
Inshallah, we have Matt K Ultra on the line.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
We can hear Matt K Ultra. Yes,
we got Matt K Ultra. How you doing?
Awesome. I'm pretty good. Here, let me turn on my camera.
Hey,
howdy, y'all.
What's up? Welcome to the live grotto.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really know how the live grotto works. I just saw there was one, so I wanted to
Neither
join.
do we. We're literally figuring it out as we go.
This is our call in. This is our 100th episode, so we're doing a call in.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're on the air. You're gonna be on the show. Congratulations.
How exciting! Hello, everybody
you're our
else.
Second. Yeah, it was gonna be Young Howler, but Young Howler, we're still waiting for Young Howler's audio to come in. So you have become the second.
All right.
Indeed.
I hope to succeed where Young Howler's audio failed.
Yeah. So
we will make do it for him and his audio.
So what's up? Like, hit us with your topic / like comment or whatever. However.
Yeah. So I just had a little question. Honestly, nothing super big. But I was just wondering, one of my favorite movies is one where it's politics are awful and most of the people involved with it are awful. I don't know if you guys know the Mel Gibson feature, Dragged Across Concrete, but its moral is basically
you're aware of it.
Yeah, its moral is basically like cops deserve to get paid more and they're treated unfairly by the media. But cool. I love it. It's a great movie. So I was just I was rewatching it the other day and feeling ashamed and just wondering if you guys had any problematic faves, is I guess how I'll put it. Like movies or music where you're sussed out by it or its politics are just explicitly bad, but you just can't help but love it.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
I feel like there's lots of stuff that's like problematic fave. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely Mel Gibson movies that I like. I mean, I like Apocalypto. I think it's like pretty good. I honestly think that Passion of the Christ is pretty good. I think that we both do. I remember watching it at your old apartment, Dimitri. Yeah. I mean, maybe the messages of those films, the message of Apocalypto maybe isn't quite as galling as what you described the message of Dragged Across Concrete to be. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what stands out. I mean, I'm like a Swiftie, I feel like. So that's like kind of like, I don't like think that like her like politics are, I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know what her occulted, esoteric, true politics are. Like we know that like really she's completely
a Maoist.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Red. I mean, who names their album?
Yeah, well, she's she's Muslim. Like,
yeah, she's actually a Muslim. Maoist. But I feel like if you put it in a certain category, like every single movie we've ever discussed, like including the ones we like could be put in a sus category because just like, just like but I guess you're asking about more explicit like politics and things like that. I mean, I do have a soft spot for like 80s action movies that I grew up with, even though they're absolutely like galling propaganda and like total mind war on like the young brains. Just like that Hodorowski thing where like there's like a toy weapon manufacturer who's like brainwashing all the children to invade Peru in 15 years. Like that stuff is and I don't know, so many other things. I would say in terms of a broader media figure, I think I've mentioned the Grotto before, but definitely like one of my, if I'm going to say like even in the podcasting world, problematic fave is Bret Easton Ellis.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody who's, I do not agree with all of his political takes, but I like his kind of perspective on like Hollywood and the movie business and his general ornery Gen Xness about just not kind of feeling like he fits in with like the current moment and everything like that. And I still do feel like as much as like American Psycho is one of like practically one of those movies they made the meme about of like why like young men valorizing like missing the point of the movie. You know, it's like Joker, Patrick Bateman, like all these other people. And but I still think that movie holds up and the book holds up as like an extremely brutal satire of like 80s American kind of like yuppie values and culture. And like I still think it resonates for a good reason. And even his I don't know, reminiscences about like the spooky private school, like West LA world that he grew up in, and the audiobook that he just released over the last year called The Shards, which he claims to some extent to be a true story, which is absolutely insane, and kind of want to review it one day. I think even though, Khalid, I can't ask you to listen to like 28 hours of like his memoirs, basically, which is basically what it is. But I mean, it actually, like, as I was listening, it was captivating. I've talked about it a lot with Jimmy Fallon Gong, and I think he's working his way through it right now. And it's a fascinating story of like, like a LA serial killer noir that involves like a serial killer, like hippie death cult.
Yeah, you told me about this. Yeah, a little bit. I think maybe even on the show.
It's really like, it's wild shit. And I know for a fact also he's interesting, like, because I know that he has read Chaos. I know that he's like aware of like the whole Manson thing. I know because he said on his podcast that he went to a dinner in Tom O'Neill's honor at Peter Thiel's mansion. So I know that he's at least orbiting in that like Peter Thiel world as well, which I think is evidenced by some of the guests he has on his podcast. But so, you know, it's like you just like, you know, but I think at the end of the day, it's one of those. He was one of the first podcasts I started listening to, and I'd read his books like prior to that. And I mean, also, honestly, I shouldn't even beat around the bush. Like, he's obsessed with the Eagles, and I would be lying to you if
there we go.
Maybe he was psyoping me all these years. He asks every single one of his guests at the end of every interview, "What do you think of the Eagles?" And so, like, he hasn't let it drop for like I don't know, 8 years, and which is, you know, it ends up being kind of sometimes an interesting question, because whether people have very strong feelings or no feelings at all about the Eagles, it does reveal something about maybe generationally, or like what part of America they came from, or the world they came from, how they feel about the Eagles. But that's my problematic fave offering that I'll throw out there.
Yeah. I mean, I think like Renee Guénon comes to mind as someone who had like some like sus or like problematic ideas, but who I still like kind of appreciate. I think that would probably be at like the top of my list of like problematic faves. I mean, Foucault, like I like Foucault a little bit, like problematic fave. Derrida, you know, like
all of the French pedophiles, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Foucault, like total pedophile. Like, you know, I mean, I kind of like. I like Heidegger. I kind of hate Heidegger, like even more than Foucault. Like, even though Heidegger was a Nazi, but not like a rapist of like boys, as far as we know. So I don't know which one of those things is like honestly like worse, being an illogical Nazi or like a practical rapist. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, hard to say. But yeah, like I feel like I have like more. I like Heidegger's thought maybe less. than Foucault's, even if like what Foucault practically did was worse. But anyway, whatever. My point is those are some problematic faves. Yeah, I retweeted like an Ernst Junger like quote like recently, and I was like, well, you know what? I'll give it to him. Like that's a good point. Or it was about like Hitler being like a demonic power that was like sucking the life of society. Yeah. So I appreciated that.
Twice a day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That he possessed is an elemental infernal and feeds on the forces unleashed by modernity in a way that the liberal intelligentsia are incapable of understanding. Minds like Nibolos, that was his nickname for Hitler, Niebolos, are bent in the most comprehensive homicide possible. They seem to belong to a world of corpses that they want to populate. They find the stench of the slain pleasant. So,
all right, right on.
Like, good point. He was like kind of like too right wing for Nazism. Like he was like, he like attacked Nazism from the right.
From the right for being too satanic.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. The ultimate horseshoe theory.
If only someone could have primaried Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, yeah. So those are some problematic faves. We got 3 people in the waiting room now, so I think we're gonna move on our next caller. But thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
This is the fastest we've ever.
No, thanks for having me on. I love the show.
Thanks. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to this.
It'll be fun, I think. All right. Oh, we got 4 in the chat now. Damn.
Okay.
All right. And
all right, I'll leave you.
Okay.
Have a good night, guys.
Appreciate it, because I don't know how to hang up on somebody without banning them forever. So
yeah, all right. Stay vigilant, y'all.
Stay vigilant.
Please.
All right. So next up, we have Elizabeth has called in.
All right.
So we will put Elizabeth in. Young Haller is just still kind of
going to be Elizabeth Warren telling us to get in this fight.
Young Haller's just still riding in the Zoom chat with no sound. We'll get them. We haven't given up on them. Yeah, I don't know. Should we read people's last names if they're in Zoom?
Yeah, maybe we should cut that out. I was just thinking they probably like are using this for their job, and they might.
These apps are legit like doxing us all the time.
Yeah.
It just
Zoom rules. Love it.
Truly rules.
Why did we all have to get why is this like the premiere? I guess like we on our own like kind of discovered this to be like one of the easiest ways to do this, unfortunately.
It was the least shitty.
We had her for a second. Oh, no, maybe.
Oh, Young Haller just messaged. Hold on. They said, I'm alive.
That's good.
That is good. All right. Oh, yeah. He hears us. This is cool. Okay. They are listening, Khalid. They are listening.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right. We're going to put, it's Drew time connecting. Hopefully. Oh, I see. You can just put them back in the waiting room. That works. Okay. All right. There we go. So Elizabeth, we will come back to you.
Okay.
Do we have Andy?
Andy. I think we do.
I think we do.
Yeah.
Yet I do not hear him.
Maybe try and I guess no, we need to hear you in Zoom. That's the only solution here.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So if anybody has, please do enable your Zoom audio. And then.
Yeah. If it's not enabled already. It seems like it is, but we're not hearing you. The problem can't be on our end, can it? No, I think it's different.
I don't think so, because they are unmuted.
Is the audio working or what? Like, what's going on here?
Well, we're just not hearing.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
oh, hey,
right.
There he is.
Okay.
We got it. It's working.
I'm multitasking right now, so I don't want to be shuffling papers and have my mic on. So,
all right.
What's up, dude?
What up? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We're just vibing.
Coup for New Year.
It's a coup for New Year, but nonetheless, yeah.
It's
so
New Year. It's arms wild.
It is. How was your New Year's Eve?
It was pretty sick, pretty mellow. Hey, there's my face. I figure we're all doing face reveal, right?
Hey,
I guess so. Yeah, we usually are on face reveal just ourselves, and I didn't really think, maybe, but I feel well, in my case, who the fuck cares, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's only 3 on the Zoom right now, so
yeah.
So I tried watching Godfather 3. get into like the Vatican kind of story.
Yeah, Vatican Bank.
But it was bad. I couldn't finish it.
Pretty bad. Yeah, juicy ideas like in it, but like not very good execution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I watched this amazing movie that I found on Amazon Prime called The Badge, the Bible, and Bigfoot. And it was like shot like literally like it seemed like there were only two people. Like it was like the two people who made the movie, like, and they just took turns holding the camera. So like they would just like pass it back and forth in these scenes, and like it was, yeah, I mean, it's what it sounds like. It's like a really like shittily made movie about like a police officer who gets stripped of his like police officer role, like chief of police role by the city council, which you never see because they couldn't find actors to play them. But like off camera, the city council like fires him. And they force him, to leave because the town decides doesn't need a police department or something. But after that, Bigfoot attacks and kidnaps like 3 girls, and he has to like go get them with Godzilla.
So, anyways, Andy, do you have anything you want to bring up?
I have
do you have a
to
question
bring up at the moment? I was just trying to eavesdrop on what else might be coming up.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting a lot of people who are just like,
what's going on?
Yeah, like, I didn't realize I was going to be on the air. Like, well, you are.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm on the air, but whatever. Yeah. Well, looks like we know what Michael Parenti is up to now, which is kind of sad.
What? I didn't hear. What happened with Michael?
Some like nothing. Like, I mean, maybe it's not over dramatic, but like I guess like some like people that kind of knew him, like organizer types, like went and like met up with him and everything. Like they took pictures and everything. He looks fine in the pictures, but I guess he has like pretty bad dementia or like onset dementia. So
geez,
that's like, so that kind of confirmed where his whereabouts are.
I think I remember kind of hearing like intimations of that probably around like about 5 years ago, because it was like right around the kind of 2016 Bernie moment when I think a lot of people were like engaging with his work, and then like even watching the old videos of like why he had like a falling out with Bernie and like how close they were for decades, and then it was all about like the bombing of Yugoslavia. And Parenti is just like, what are you doing? Like, and stuff like that. But then it was like, where is Parenti? Like, he's still alive, but like, where is he? And so that's sad to hear. But I hope he's happy and he's chilling and vibing out.
Yeah, he's got a lot of fans.
He does. Really like a titan of like dissident scholars, I guess, in like the 20th century. Like still his YouTube lectures like are immortal. Like,
oh yeah,
he's the real Chomsky in my book. You know what I mean? Like he's like the people who like Chomsky, like he is what people think Chomsky is, but he isn't, because he's not like a DoD contractor who, I don't know, Chomsky says, etc.
At least Grover Fur is still out there.
We still have Grover Fur. That's right. That's right. And maybe 2022 is the year where we really do a deep dive, and
it's really amazing how many Grover Fur's books have lies in the title, like Khrushchev lied, Blood lies, Trotsky's lies,
Freedom lies.
Yeah, Leon Trotsky's collaboration with Germany and Japan.
I mean, can't just sweep it under the rug.
No.
I mean, yeah. Well, that's cool. Any other
did we lose it? Oh, what? Yeah.
No. I'm here. No, I lost my train.
I was reading through the bibliography of Grover Fur, so I wasn't looking.
We'll get to it. I mean, maybe Parenti stuff too. I don't know. There's so many good Parenti books. Especially I think it'll be interesting when people listen to our next episode about Crazy Tom Mosher. Kind of like, I feel like Parenti is like the real Crazy Tom Mosher, like, but Crazy Tom Mosher is like a fake version of Parenti. Like, I'm just like a working class guy, like from Chicago, like, and I'm all about communism. You dig? Like, he just has such like a streetwise, like, not like pretentious style to him, but like Parenti's not an FBI informant, so like trying to destroy the left. And I don't think he ever robbed like hippie drug dealers in the Bay Area. But anyways, let's see. We got a couple people waiting here. I think we might. I mean, you can just hang out, Andy. Like,
I'll do whatever. I'll stay in.
Let's just throw in Sober Cobra. Sober Cobra, and
I'll try to find my Chauncey book for the camera.
Yeah.
All right. They're around here somewhere.
All right, Sober Cobra is coming on. Hieronymus is the MVP with the support he's offering. I agree. Hieronymus is up in the Voice Grotto chat, just hyping every single person that goes on. I think it's beautiful, honestly.
Yeah.
Is this what BreadTube people do all day? Sorry, I don't want to defile this moment.
I think that BreadTube people like are on Twitch and they just have people like writing comments to them in like a chat and then they read them out loud. And people like pay like for super chats, and like they'll go do $10 to be like to make them read like, you know, like you're a cuck, like I hate you, like or whatever. Yeah.
And I feel like I don't have the right posture for BreadTube right now. Like I need to be like
well,
in
you
an
should also like be playing like
chair,
some
like just like this.
Yeah, like you should be playing Legend of Zelda, and like the screen should be playing like, you know, like a N64 game while you like give some incredibly horrible like reactionary like take, like or it's just something that's straight up evil, like. You're like, God. listen to me, and meanwhile you're like playing like Mario Galaxy or something, you know, and it's like, all right, like, you know, Petin was a great soldier, okay, like they weren't just a puppet regime, they had their own plan. And there were a lot of good ideas, okay? And like meanwhile, like Mario's like jumping on Bowser's head, like seamlessly, like just like muscle memory, like automatically, like God. You're just like, you know, effortlessly like destroying Bowser, like while you rant and rave about like how like, you know, Vici gets a bad rap.
Scary. It's a scary phenomenon. Sober Cobra, can you hear us? We can't hear you. Me? Oh, yes. Hi. Okay. Hi. Yeah. Yes, we can hear you. How's it going?
All right. How are you?
Good.
We're doing good. We're doing good. Yeah. We're just vibing out here.
How many are in here?
We got 4 in here right now.
Right now, yeah, we have.
We got It's Drew Time, just kicking it, just vibing.
Yeah, just
vibing.
Which I feel like now it's just a big party, you know. So
it's a whole big situation. Yeah.
Yeah. So how's it going?
Yeah.
Good, man. I've been a patron.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. You too. I've been a patron for a month or 2 now, I think.
Wow.
Right I burned through all your episodes, and then I went through all the subscriber content, and huge fan.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks. Do you have any? I guess since you just burned through our whole catalog,
questions.
Did anything jump out at you that? You know, you.
Oh gosh, I was dreading this because I don't really have any questions. I kind of just came in to listen.
Oh yeah, same with a lot of people. Is there anything that you'd want to like talk about, like any like topic that like you wanted to throw out?
What's on your mind right now?
Yeah, what are you thinking about? What's going on? Yeah,
I'm currently reading Program to Kill.
Oh
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it took me like a month or 2 just to get through the first 80 pages. Pretty brutal. And just when I thought I was done with like all the pedophilic stuff, then you read about everything that Otis Toole and Henry Lee Lucas went through.
Oh my God, the Hand of Death cult. Like, it's so crazy. It's a real black pill of a ride.
Yeah, it sure is.
I think
so. I've kind of been I want to read something light after I finish this. I've kind of been turned on to some Pynchon.
Oh yeah.
So I've got a couple of his lined up next. I read Bleeding Edge just before this, so I'm a convert. I'm all on the conspiracy tip now.
Hell yeah. Bleeding Edge is great. Like that was definitely my most meaningful novel that I only read a couple novels last year, but like one of my most meaningful reading experiences last year was going through Bleeding Edge, a book that I think is aging like a fine wine already, you know, but maybe hits a little different than, God, when did it come out? Like
2013, I think.
2013, yeah. And just so much of that stuff about 9/11, the internet, like the Dracularity of everything. Josh Harris.
Yeah, he actually did use the word Dracularity before.
did.
My coinage of it in like a slightly different sense, but yeah, so definitely hats off to him for that. Like, how did you come across like SJ? I always wonder, like, where people like hear about our podcast from, or what like you were into before, if you weren't like necessarily into like parapolitics type stuff, or anything like that.
Not really. I've always suspected that I'm Canadian, by the way, living in Ontario, just a little east of Toronto. I've never really trusted the government fully. I've always thought there was something sus about them. I always kind of suspected that everything we hear isn't necessarily the full story. But how I got into SJ, after watching that Netflix Sons of Sam doc, I started following Manny Grossman, who was doing YouTube videos about it, doing like walk and talks. And then he went to Subscribestar, and I started paying for him there. And it was in there that someone mentioned subliminal jihad.
Wow.
And from there I tried it out and was just in love.
That's word of mouth. Well, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah,
it was total word of mouth.
Yeah. I've heard, it seems to be there are a lot of stories like that where, I don't know. Like, I just always, like, people ask me and I'm like, I don't know, like Twitter or something. Like, I don't really know, like some kind of algorithm pops up and like tells you if you're if you get close enough in the orbit of something, then maybe. But that's pretty cool.
That just made me think of a question. Have you guys followed or researched the Son of Sam case at all, or did you watch that Netflix doc?
I never watched the Netflix doc. I'm a little bit familiar with the case. Dimitri might know a bit more about it, but I did. I do know some stuff about it. Yeah, I think it's definitely like I definitely could see like the sort of like sus angle to it. Like I could definitely see like the cult angle like in Son of Sam. But yeah, we haven't like done an episode on it or like taken it on like in a Q&A like as yet specifically. I think maybe we touched on it a bit like in Elisa Lamb, maybe did we? I don't know, but or maybe in the past,
it came
like
up a few times, and
episode,
maybe with Ed Opperman, because I know that's where I've heard a lot about. I had never heard of the Son of Sam like process church connection before I started listening to Ed Opperman, and he's like he's a dog on a bone with that Son of Sam process connection. Like I love it. I love how like
process is very interesting and like very weird like type of group. I mean, talk like the fact that like the whole like animal like the Better Friends Animal Society thing is like
the Getty like boosting girl it. Collecting donations for it. Lilith Aquino collecting donations for it on Facebook. And
talk about the gnomes. The earth
just out there, and like no offense to any Mormons listening, but like sus Utah, like in the middle of nowhere. Like why would all these like occultist like city people from like New York and London and places like that all just go out in like the secluded desert and have, it's just so fucking weird. And but I didn't watch the Netflix
theology
thing,
is very insane too. It's like a trinity of like Jesus and like literally Satan. Like they're just they love
I mean, talk about Gnostic. Like it is like hyper Gnostic in like a very sus way. I can't say I did start reading Maury Terry's The Ultimate Evil, which I know like people have certain issues with him as like a cult exposer kind of figure, but even that, I mean, that talks about the Arliss Perry murder at Stanford, which actually wasn't like, it was in the same period kind of for a couple years after the Tom Mosher incidents and all that stuff, but then I think it does get to the Son of Sam process thing. I don't know enough to like fully speak on it, but I feel like there is definitely some kind of there, and I think we should tackle it in 2022.
It seems like there's been incidences of pedophilia in Yonkers, particularly like going back decades and decades. And there was like military intelligence people living around. And you ever heard of Dr. Carlton Gajusek?
I have.
That name sounds familiar, but who is that?
He won a Nobel Prize in the 70s. I forget the gist of it now. his research. It was some sort of brain disease that stemmed from cannibalism.
Oh, Kuru.
And he was, yeah.
I was looking this up the other day for some reason. Maybe somebody was posting about him. But the discoverer of Kuru, which has Pizzagate fame. Like if you go back far enough, people accusing Hillary Clinton of, like, whenever she would collapse, like people would post that she had Kuru for eating human flesh.
Right. The first known human prion disease. Yeah. Daniel Carlton Gajusek. I'm just on his Wikipedia right now in classic SJ fashion. Yeah.
Gotta do it.
Yeah. His best known work was focused on Kuru. Connected it to the spread of, to the practice of funerary cannibalism.
Okay. So what's up with that doctor?
Well, he was an unabashed pedophile. And he wasn't shy about it.
Oh my
And he
God.
brought
Like a Walter
back
Breen kind of thing.
56 mostly male children.
Back like 40 to 50 kids or something.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It says on Wikipedia, in the course of his research trips to the South Pacific, Gajusek had brought 56 mostly male children back to live with him in the United States, providing them with the opportunity to receive high school and college education. One of these boys, now a grown man, later accused Gajusek of molesting him as a child.
Holy shit.
Right. Okay.
And then he basically fled to Norway and retired there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But there's a lot there to this whole Son of Sam thing. I don't know if you ever, maybe you could talk to Manny Grossman about it. Reach out. They had the guy from the farm. He had him on one of his YouTube shows.
Oh, Recluse.
Yeah, Recluse. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, I haven't checked.
That was a while back.
That Manny's workout yet, but I'll take a look at it. And
there's a lot there. I mean, he's kind of a strident right winger, and as a lefty, it's kind of uncomfortable.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
but I mean, that doesn't mean. I mean, his research is still pretty good, and everything he's sort of uncovering. I mean, there's definitely something there.
Yeah. No, I think definitely. Like, yeah, even the people of more right wing persuasion, even going back to the 80s, like I think that that a lot of their observations were valid, even if maybe
they definitely aren't always wrong, but at the same time, like I don't know, like I need to learn more about any given person, like when I hear, because like there's a lot of like just in the general right-wing ecosystem, like there's just a lot of like stuff that like you don't like want to deal with. Like I don't want to like have an hour-long conversation with someone about like I will not live in the bod, I will not eat the bugs, like just like ranting and raving about like whatever phantoms like are lurking in the corner of their vision. But
like I don't want to live in the pod.
Patriots in control. Like, not only do I not want to eat bugs, like I don't want to eat like most food, like that's but like
true, that's
true. I mean honestly, like the whole thing with like bugs, like I think that's like a good, I mean living in a pod, that I feel like is unequivocally bad. Eating bugs, I feel like that's like a little bit bullshit. I mean in terms of locusts, like John the Baptist ate locusts, it's like trad. I get how people are sussed out about like they're trying to replace our meat with like locusts, or like they're my cows, like or whatever, but eating bugs in and of itself, like it is a trad behavior. John the Baptist ate them, the Prophet Muhammad ate them, according to
all right. Well, yeah, maybe we'll eat some bugs. You don't need to.
I'm just
saying. What are you, a sponsored Bloomberg article? Calm down. Actually, like bugs are hawk. Like,
well, okay. I'm just saying, like the pod, that's like maybe legitimate. The bugs, like I just feel like that's one of those things, like a moral panic.
No, that's true. I mean,
but I mean, I get how you can feel they're pushing the bugs. Yeah, I get
it. They want you to only like drink.
They only want you to eat bugs. They want you to cockroach. They want you. Yeah, it's like
literally.
Well, no, but that's what I feel like. Some of these right-wing people, they'll see an article that's like, locusts have health benefits or whatever, which, like, okay, fine. Like, yeah, that's like, they're sponsored by like some kind of thing that's like investing in like, bug burgers or whatever. But then they'll be like, they're trying to make me eat a roly-poly or like whatever. And it's just like, just chill. Like, just chill. Like, it's not like, that's like the kind of like right-wing shit that, or like, anyone who's like into the fucking like wokeness shit, I can't deal with that, which seems to be like the main like right wing preoccupation these days. Like the
woke capital.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're gonna put us in camps. They're gonna put white people in camps. Like, like. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think wokeness is a problem. I mean, I feel like there's a bit of overcorrection there. Would you not agree?
Yeah,
in terms of,
I would agree.
well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely excesses. Like,
I mean, but it's all.
anything.
I think it's
like,
clearly there's been a kind of like utilization of it by like the HR departments of like the corporate world.
Those things, those things are annoying. Like, you know, and they also like are used to basically like put a band-aid on like their actual like the problems that they have, like those sort of diversity trainings. They don't actually solve anything, and like they can be like, you know, poorly done and like irritating, but like the response to them is like, you know, they're like gonna like, you know, they're making our kids like hate themselves or like whatever, so, like something like that, where it's like, I don't know, like they're teaching our kids like critical race theory, like stuff like that. Like, I feel like, I don't know, that like level of reaction, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a point at which like everyone will be on board with that. Like, you know, with thinking that kind of like thing is lame. Like everyone, I feel like broadly like hates like, what's her name? Like that woman, the white fragility woman.
Robin DiAngelo.
Robin DiAngelo. Like everyone hates her. Like everyone finds like her to be like annoying, and like but like, I don't know, like the James Lindsay type of like line on it is just like, not, like just completely like overblown. And I feel like kind of I
listened to him for a while.
Yeah.
I listened to his podcast for a month or two.
Yeah.
And then I was just kind of like, man, this is all he talks about.
He's
Can you talk about something
He's a
else?
freak.
When it gets to be an obsession.
I can't get down with him. He's out of his mind. And like some of the stuff that he like, I mean, he's one of those people who's like not only like just awful, like in terms of like his politics, but he's also like very cringe. Like, you know, he like is one of those 40-year-olds, like, you know, who's like trying to be like down with the kids, and he'll like be retweeting things and be like, this is honk, like, you know, or something like that, you know, like, you know, like not based, it's, you know, or whatever. It's like, chill. But yeah, it's crazy that he has like a PhD in math, and like now his whole life is like, you know,
well, he's a serious
he's a dissident, you know. Yeah, exactly.
He's STEM brain, you know.
Yeah.
What podcasts do you guys listen to?
I'm not like a big like podcast listener, especially like because I have trouble like doing my work. Like if I'm listening to podcasts, like it's hard for me to listen and work, like because I have to like write, so it's hard to like have my own thoughts. So like when I'm not doing this, like it's hard for me to listen to things. But podcasts I do listen to. Dogman Encounters Radio, and I listen to, it's a bit of an obscure podcast, but I listen to Steph Young's podcast, who's like kind of like a paranormal, like, or sort of weird missing persons type researcher. And then I'll just listen to like some, like depending on the episode, like the Ottoman History podcast, and like you know, New Books in Islamic Studies and things like that. But like on a contingent basis, or if something like floats past my radar that seems interesting, like then I'll listen to like maybe a snatch of a podcast. But you know, I'm not like a huge podcast like listener, honestly, like myself. Like those are,
I think I'm ones. More I'm the more like ravenous addict, though less so this days, because like it's busy, like you get busy editing your own podcast, and then
like the recording of our own right,
it like takes up what like like a good chunk of time. But the aforementioned Bret Easton Ellis podcast is something that I do listen to. It's a problematic fave, but then
sorry, say that again. Who is it?
Bret Easton Ellis, the author of like American Psycho and stuff. He's had a podcast for like 8 or 9 years, and I think it's good if you're into somebody being really down on like the movie business and the direction of like the death of the cultural dominance of like the movies, and how like the spiritual emptiness of like Marvel and everything, from somebody who's kind of on like a relatively comfortable perch, like, but not like a super huge person, but kind of in that world, you know, but kind of like standing in the corner, like that meme of like, they don't know I'm, you know, like everyone's partying and then he's standing over there, like. But no, I think besides that, I don't know, like obviously Program to Chill, the friend of the pod, Jimmy Fallon.
I subscribe to Jimmy's podcast.
Yeah. So I'm always like working through those periodically. There's one that started around the same time as us called Exhaust. I think EX dot Host. They just recently had Canada Mike, who was on our episode about quantum mechanics.
He's been on there a couple of times.
Yeah, I enjoy their conversations. I feel like they're like, I feel like we share a certain wavelength in common. I think just like broadly defined, kind of their I think their positionality, especially during like these last 2 years of like crisis and stuff, have been cool. And that's kind of what I look for, I guess, right now. But I think more than that, I think like The Farm with Recluse is like a great research thing. Dave Emery is somebody that I've listened to a lot over the years, who's still on the air, and just a really great like classic conspiracy kind of breakdown. And I think he's still got the stuff. And I, even though it sucks that you can't really load them onto like podcasting apps, but you can find online like all of Mae Brussels' old like World Watchers episodes from the 70s and the 80s. And I'll probably do an excerpt whenever we circle back to Aquino one day. There's a specific story of like an encounter that because right before she died suddenly of cancer in 1987, she had set her sights squarely on Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino and the Presidio daycare abuse scandal, and was like working with like local parents groups that were claiming that their children had been ritualistically abused in daycare centers around the Bay Area. But there are some people running those groups that were extremely sus. but I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And but like very, very but like really like her episodes about like the Manson case and about obviously the JFK assassination, but also like the SLA are like kind of foundational, because like she was watching like I think we definitely will do an SLA episode this year, but at the time, I think that whatever that was such, among other things, a successful psyop. And Mae Brussels just like, no, like this is like some CIA bullshit. Like this is definitely some like Operation Chaos, like COINTELPRO bullshit. Like these people aren't real. This is all kind of like being ginned up to like discredit like the sort of more militant left and blah, blah, blah. And so that's really cool to like go back and listen, like as it was happening, somebody like call it right,
Yeah.
So those would be my recommendations.
Yeah. Well, nice. I want to shout out You Can't Win too. Do I listen to every episode of You Can't Win? Like, no, sorry, Tom. Just like for time reasons. But there's some like awesome episodes of You Can't Win. Abdullah's episode about going on Hajj, Khalid's episode, the other Khalid with an E, his episode about Germany, I'd shout those out. And the ones I've been on, obviously, I also would recommend. And, I think you'll enjoy the podcast in general, Tom.
Yeah,
cool,
definitely.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I second that.
What are your thoughts on, have you guys seen the new Oliver Stone JFK doc?
Yes, I did. Friend of the pod, Lisa Pease, popped up. Happy to see them in there. No, I showed it to my parents, who are like, boomers, and like I've slowly been trying to like convince them to be like JFK pilled over the last few years. Like I bought my dad like JFK and the Unspeakable, and he was like reading it and was like, oh, and they're kind of into it. Like they're kind of into this like idea. It's like it's a lot for them to digest in terms of like if affecting their entire worldview, you know what I mean? And being like, well, if that was true, then like everything else that I've come to like think about the world and America and everything like should be reorganized. But I think, I've at least gotten to the point where like they can't deny it. And I make sure to be like, and no, like, fuck what you heard on the news last week. It wasn't the KGB. Like now they're trying that shit where like, the Biden administration's going to release just nothing even new, but like, they're just gonna, basically try to like hint that somehow like a 5-year-old Vladimir Putin did it or something, when he was like a KGB agent, or it was like Castro. So we should invade Cuba, or some bullshit like that. I don't know. What did you think about it?
I'm always curious what people that put out podcasts have to say about it, like mainstream ones, I guess, like Stuff You Should Know and
you know, it sounds like they've been blue pilled on it. And
Yeah.
it kind of, as an outsider, I'm just like, damn, like I just can't help but feel like, how can you not see it?
Yeah, it's always very
Yeah.
jarring when I dip my toes into like that type of like podcast. Like, you know, it's always weird. And I feel like that's kind of what, I don't know, like what, as I was just doing, like saying, you know, all the time, like they have this very like smooth, weird delivery and like everything is like very like rehearsed and prepared. And they like, and then they have like these bizarre like takes from another planet. Like it's just, yeah, very strange, regardless of the topic. Like there's, yeah, weird type of affect about it. But yeah.
It was very alienating when that was like almost like there's nothing but podcasts like that like 6 or 7 years ago. Like it was like extremely, especially when you got into like conspiracy territory. It was like just City, like all day long. Fucking City. And like Oliver Stone.
Good
like,
night and hail Satan.
Sign the Spotify contract with your own blood.
Yeah.
Word.
Are you guys? Are you still thinking of doing a Missing 411 podcast?
I would love to do a Missing 411 episode because that's something that, like I said, like I think that actually a lot of David Paulides' missing persons research was like ripped off from Steph Young, or at least that's what she claims. So like that's
someone said that.
That's what Steph Young claims, that like a lot of his missing person information was like ripped off from her. So I don't know if that's true, but like definitely she does do some, and that's like part of where I kind of started getting into that from. Like I kind of got into it through the Dogman stuff because like there's a lot of crossover in that world and the Bigfoot world, but with the Missing 411 stuff. But I would definitely be interested to do that. We have read like on both our Dogman and our Bigfoot episode like some Missing 411 material, but I would like to do like a sus disappearances like episode in general, you know, which I feel like kind of overlaps with the smiley face killers type territory. It's an interesting subject, you know. It's it's people have different takes on it, you know, but I do find there's something definitely compelling about it and interesting. I don't know. It's intriguing to me. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something there for sure. And it's, I don't know, it's supernatural or I don't know. It seems to point towards portholes potentially.
Yeah.
But
it definitely seems like something that's it's definitely it's definitely seems to point to like operating on some kind of like symbological level. At least that's how the information is presented by like the main exponents of it. You know, you really kind of have to do your own research into like this with the same rigor that these people have done, like that David Paulides has done, without the same kind of like tendentiousness that he has. Like, because I think that David Paulides is someone who maybe his view has evolved a bit or expanded, but he, I think, strongly feels that it is Bigfoot, or, you know, is like coming from a basis of like it's Bigfoot. And his understanding of Bigfoot may have changed from like flesh and blood creature to something that is more, spiritual in some way. But the way that he presents the information, he definitely has collected like a lot of interesting circumstantial evidence about certain coincidences in the different cases. Like, you know, they always involve like, you know, the color red or something, or like, you know, we have like these mysterious missing shoes, or like people with these types of last names, like, you know, are more prone to disappear than other people. You know, archers tend to disappear, so things like that, you know, shepherds you mentioned, right? So that type of thing, seems to be there was, I think it was recommended to, I don't want to even say it was Young Howler who recommended like this interesting podcast that I listened to about like a Bigfoot portal encounter. It was either him or Good Flying Ren, I forget whom, but anyway, there is this, this Bigfoot guy who apparently was off. It gets into some very interesting drama with like the Bigfoot community people, because like some of these Bigfoot people had like a portal encounter, and a bunch of like scary big feet came out, or big Sasquatches came out, and they, you know, like scared them and intimidated them. But the guy who they were staying with was like very adamant to like not believe that there was this malevolent Bigfoot presence, because he is the guy who I think I mentioned on the podcast before, who like he's in communication with Zorth.
Zorth,
like, Zorth, who talks
Trump
to him about how Trump,
like
Trump will trust the plan. He like channels Zorth, and he does these little Bigfoot growls. But yeah, so they had this very weird experience, and Yeah, I'll see if I can actually search it up on the Grotto. Like if I just search Bigfoot portal, I probably will be able to. Yeah, it was Good Flying Wren. It was Adam Davies on Binnall of America, his podcast BINNALL of America. Yeah, I'll put the link to this in the chat, I guess, or if there is a chat for this Zoom. There is, just in case anyone wants to look at the Bigfoot portal encounter. And you can also find it in the Grotto if you search Bigfoot portal. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge James Draper has been, or I should probably not say people's full names, but James has been waiting very patiently in the waiting room. Cobra. Yes, thank you, Sober Cobra.
We're doing our typical thing of like going up too long. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Pleasure chatting with you both, and proud to be a patron. And happy New Year.
Right on. Stay vigilant.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I cut it out too early. We're still learning.
Yeah.
Okay, James Draper, we're gonna pull in, and then I'm gonna grab some coffee and smoke a cigarette. To be perfectly honest,
I think maybe we should just like truck through. I don't know. I guess you can't smoke inside. You can't deal with it. You need.
I can't. And I'm out of coffee. Do we have James Draper?
Yeah, first time caller.
What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, so I got a new cryptid for you. Have you heard of the HumanZee?
The HumanZee, is that a human plus chimpanzee, like sort of chimera?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a lab-grown cryptid or like?
It's lab-grown. It's from right on the first coast where I grew up. I just put a link to it and VC text. This guy Robert Yerkes started the primate research facility connected to Emory, which is in Atlanta. And I remember hearing about this growing up, just that that they basically made a human chimp hybrid and walked it around.
Wow, I'm looking at pictures right now. Is Oliver supposed to be the HumanZee?
I think so.
Wow.
So I think that this is enough to warrant a whole episode, but I really I want you guys to do a whole Jacksonville First Coast susness extravaganza. Because it is, that's where they disclosed those the Tic Tacs.
Really?
Yeah, the Tic Tacs are all floating around. Yep. Yeah, it is a hell mouth of susness.
Wow.
I've been to Jacksonville once. Actually, one of the only Florida cities that I've only ever been in the Panhandle. I've never been to South
Florida. Is sus for sure.
Yeah,
it is. Interesting place.
Did you notice the smell?
It was a long time ago.
In years,
but no. Does it smell bad?
Yeah, it smells like either like boiled coffee piss from the coffee factory or paper mill. So it's literally one of the worst places to be.
To quote native Fred Durst, like just a crazy white mother from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Right.
There were definitely reports that researchers in the Soviet Union and China have, according to this article that you posted, I remember hearing about Stalin's.
Stalin made human ape super soldiers, right? Yeah, I remember that being on the Drudge Report headline years ago.
That does seem like a Drudge Report.
But once again, we were the ones making HumanZees, not the Soviets. Just projecting, I guess.
Yeah. Once again, we were so concerned about the Soviet army of HumanZees. It was the same thing. We're like, we need to make HumanZees. It's the only way.
Absolutely.
But this
Yale
HumanZee
laboratory
doesn't seem like it would be a super soldier. I mean, chimpanzees are strong, but it doesn't seem.
That's the thing that I think that's a feature of Western science. Is this obsession with curiosity for curiosity's sake that I think it kind of plays into the bigger satanic sort of selfishness narrative where it's of course, there's that whole Radio Lab about that poor chimp that they socialized as a human just as an experiment, and it started coming on to
oh my God,
I know. And it's disgusting. And it's just why do we need to even know the answer to some of these questions?
Yeah, exactly.
Like what? Yeah,
they're just gonna be like in tanks gulping for air, folks.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I mean, Alex Jones, like, yeah, maybe he's being over the top, but like, I really don't want to have a future where there's like a underground laboratory filled with like fish, like people just like
gulping in tanks. They're gulping.
Like
They're
what
gulping.
the fuck? Like, but yeah, I feel like all these people, like everyone hanging out at Epstein's Island, who is like a serious scientist, is basically like that's kind of the thing they're into. Like, yeah, why not? Like,
yeah, well, they want to like grow human organs and like pigs, and then use the organs.
They
like,
all, they all have their heads chopped off when they die and put in like cryogenic freezing, so that in the future they can be resurrected with like robot bodies. Like, no, for real, like Peter Thiel, like.
I remember, I remember reading that article
that
came out a while ago that I was just thinking about recently. The one where that guy, it was in The Guardian, like some dude like went to give a keynote speech at some like Silicon Valley conference, and he went into like what he thought was the green room, but they all just like cornered him. Like 5 like rich like Silicon Valley people, and they're like, so like he was like a climate scientist, and they're like, so after the event, how can I keep control of my security forces? Like, will I have to use explosive collars to keep them in line? Can I use like a time locked safe, like, or a keyword like a passcode,
like lock up the food with
the
like
food supply? Yeah, exactly. To force there, or will they just cut my hand off and use it to it's like and they're like, will Alaska be safe, or what will be safer, Alaska or New Zealand? And one of their questions was like, is it possible, if I have my brain uploaded into the cloud, will I still be myself when I'm uploaded to a robot body? Like, can a new body be grown for me? And he was like, what the fuck? Like,
what these sickos are thinking about when they're microdosing every day, like up in Palo Alto. Like, it's not healthy.
Who's the guy that wrote Sapiens?
I read that a few years ago. God, it's I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he put out a book called Homo Deus too, about like how man will become God. I would love to hear y'all's like do a whole deep dive on that guy, because he's been brainwashing a lot of my favorite libs, into this like really weird kind of just like detached view of we are basically God, so we can do whatever we want, so let's just keep on having no holds barred capitalism wherever we along any front, doesn't matter who gets hurt, like
we're
there's
evolving.
no heaven or hell. There's no heaven.
I remember my mom like recommending this book to me. It's like, they explain where like religions come from. It's like, okay, all right.
It was a hot pick. It was a hot pick a few years ago. I got it recommended to me on like a date.
Afterward, the animal that became a god. We have mastered our surroundings, increased food production, built cities, established empires, and created far-flung trade networks. But did we decrease the amount of suffering in the world? Time and again, massive increases in human power did not necessarily improve the well-being of individual sapiens. It literally sounds like talking about Sims, and usually cause immense misery to other animals. In the last few decades, we have at least made some real progress as far as the human condition is concerned, with the reduction of famine, plague, and war. Oops, too soon. Yet the situation of other animals is deteriorating more rapidly than ever before, and the improvement in the lot of humanity is too recent and fragile to be certain of. Definitely. Yep, followed by Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow. Great. Yeah, that
Here we go. Homo sapiens are problematic. And
I don't understand why everyone's like, we will become gods. Like, chill. Like,
because it's but they long for control, so they have to jerk off over the idea of like all of these neoliberals like lust for kind of, not to be too anarchist, but they're all authoritarians at heart.
It is true. It really is true. Like in ways that are shocking sometimes.
Well, it goes like even beyond that, because it's like one thing to like want to like power or to like deploy power, but like things like wanting to live forever, or want like why like someone needs to like give them a copy of the Epic of Gilgamesh. They would probably just be like, primitive ape. like it's like one of the oldest things, like one of the oldest concepts that like immortality is like a curse, like that's like not desirable, like in this world at least, like it's
like our just being part of this world and this moment is so much more than you're never ever going to be able to. It's always going to be a Black Mirror sort of setup. You're never ever going to be able to copy like all of this. Yeah, exactly. So like the people that are just constantly trying, it's always going to be the same sort of tragic, weird. It's always going to be like that, lab grown boyfriend from Black Mirror.
Yeah, exactly. Like a humanoid kind of android, like Terminator version of Mark Zuckerberg that like is the legal inheritor of like his sort of identity and soul, and thus like is still running Meta like 100 years from now. But it's like I could like I'm just picturing this horrible future now where like all of the shitty Silicon Valley billionaires that we're stuck with right now are going to be stuck with us forever because they're going to load themselves into these bodies. And all it takes is, a certain change of law or, inheritance law or whatever to say this person still is legally alive and they're this robot. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It just
Bill
makes
Gates
your head.
praised Sapiens as one of his favorite books, one of his 10 favorite books, and Mark Zuckerberg also recommended it.
I bet they did because it's like they love looking upon us.
The Israel
like
Museum in Jerusalem created
bugs.
a special temporary exhibit based in the book using archaeological and artistic displays to demonstrate the main themes found in the book. I bet they did. I bet they made Palestinians go to it and handcuffs. No, but, yeah.
Also, I wanted to, if I still have any question power left.
Yeah.
Sure.
Linguistics, like I am like very like I love like digging into like old language families and stuff, and I figured you guys might have a take on Marita Gimbutas and the Kurgan theory.
I'm not familiar with that.
Remind me of her. It sounds a bit familiar.
Well, so there's basically like it's been kind of in have you ever heard of the Proto-Indo-European language family?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically people like from multiple different disciplines kind of converged around, well, there must have been this Proto-Indo-European civilization, and they were effectively white people going
Aryans.
around, and then yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of and I think that there's a lot of debunking.
Yeah, they basically are the Aryans, right? Like the Proto-Indo-European peoples, or the Kurgans.
Yeah. And the thing is, like I think that there's enough to dispute around this, and that there's a lot of interest that really want to see the Kurgan narrative play out because it really, fortifies their whole worldview. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed, like, I could link you guys some really sus videos of like white supremacists that are making supposed linguistics videos, but
it is all about like the 14 words, like they're all obsessed with like or like even like numerology, like 88, like they love it.
Yeah. So like this really, all these appeals to authority and all these appeals to like tradition and stuff like really ring into them, and they get like creepy tattoos that like are in like Peter and like creepy like the Lord's Prayer, but like in Proto-Indo-European and stuff, but
runic language.
Yeah. I think that that would be a really interesting episode for you guys.
Do we even have like a script system for Proto-Indo-European? I mean, I really am into historical linguistics, and I studied a lot of languages, including old ones. I think I've mentioned, I studied Ugaritic and Middle Egyptian and Old Egyptian to a point, but that stuff, like going back to like linear A and linear B, and like, is there even like a script system for like Proto-Indo-European or anything like that? Like.
That's the thing, is that it was like generally a oral tradition. I could be totally wrong. I am not. I mean, it would make sense. Yeah. I'm in STEM, but I'm also like I don't. This is not my field. Yeah. So like I think that all that stuff is fascinating. Mostly, I think it's really interesting looking at the players that are involved under writing this research, and because like I think that there's some really dark intentions going on here
for sure. Yeah.
And anybody that's like super obsessed with their own personal bloodlines, I find to be very sus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm Phoenician.
Yeah.
Right. Like that type of.
Yeah. But I mean, I should say, white people that are very obsessed with their backgrounds. Not to be like, you know what I'm saying? I think like there's a lot of,
like very essentialist, like about being whatever, like I'm a
British.
Norman. I'm a Norman or something.
Yeah,
like
most, the whole thing is like, I mean, it's obviously different. Like when you're talking, it's very different when you're talking about like kind of like racialized groups like that have been subjected to like racist regimes, like and racializing a certain category like as a form of oppression. Like there's a different thing where it's like a power construct that's like meant to organize like, you know, this sort of national or like racial ideology. Like it's I mean those two things kind of are two sides of the same coin in a way, but like it's extremely like fucked up, like the, you know, and a lot of that stuff is just like complete bullshit, like, and is not based on anything. Like it's like, you know, I mean the idea of like the white race itself, you know, like the, you know, there are all these different groups that like historically have like, you know, despised each other.
I mean, you're talking about
exactly.
You're talking about a couple key mutations, and that's about it. You know, like it's not. There's not. I don't think that there is like an overarching culture. I mean, like I don't know. I really think that there's a lot that needs to be like taken apart along these fronts. I don't know. I love linguistics. I wish that everyone involved with it wasn't so goddamn sus, like John McWhorter.
I mean Chomsky.
Chomsky,
linguistic word.
Chomsky, the patron saint of neoliberalism.
There was one when we did our Chomsky episode.
Chomsky.
One linguistics guy like took issue with our linguistics knowledge, but he like wrote, you know, he like showed us a post that was like this, you know, you should read this to truly understand. And I was like, I don't understand what we got wrong based on this. So maybe we're just like so dense that we don't even understand linguistics. But I feel like I don't know.
I mean, like
just
so
too much of a Chomsky partisan. I don't know. Maybe.
Let's not. I mean, like a lot of it was pseudoscience. I mean, like a lot of it. I mean, I don't think that the sciences should be gatekept at all. I think that I believe in citizen science, that people that like we can have independent investigation and research and stuff, that's what everybody should be, you know, interested in, you know, the forces that are shaping our world. You know?
And I agree. And the external view often is like very illuminating because these like ideas do kind of get perpetuated in these you know, tight knit circles, you know, these kind of insular groups.
So I've satisfied all of my stuff for right now.
I definitely am intrigued by the hybrids notion. I mean, I was reading recently, someone posted something about like how, you know, the guy who shot what's his name, Chris Kyle, was like, he's a pig, he's half pig.
No, he's like literally a half pig. He's a chimera.
He's a pig assassin. Like and then like, you know, if someone was making the point that like years later it came to light that like, you know, they had successfully grown like pig embryos with like human organs.
Like
I mean, they're like,
who fucking knows?
He was right. He was right. He knew.
He's on SEAL
I mean,
team.
like there's the pig is an amazing genetic model and it's super versatile. You know, hey,
but it's haram. It's definitely
Yeah.
haram to grow anything to get an organ that was grown in a pig. Sorry, they're going
Absolutely.
to something else.
No, like I think that like the what we do to, I've seen it firsthand. I work in, well, I used to work with mice, and it's disgusting what these people get up to. I mean, like we're talking like there's, I don't want to get too much into it because I've already you know, I've already doxed,
We've been having this problem.
It's a dox city this week, you know.
But like they're taking old mice and sewing them up to young mice and looking at like the, you know, how young mice blood rejuvenates.
Blood
like
Boys
level,
like, Blood Boys.
I mean,
imitation on mice.
Talk about Dracularity. I mean, like I had to. Now I do something totally different. That's I just extract money straight out of the bourgeoisie. But no mice are involved, so it makes me feel much better.
It's nice. I couldn't do it. I can't.
I don't
even
think I could
if I see
do
a mouse in my house, I'm like, I can't. You know, I always want to just like put them in a box and try to get them outside. I don't want to use any of the traps or the poison. It's too bad. Yeah,
of course.
Softy when it comes to mammals. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely they are cute and misunderstood. Yeah. And
well, they're definitely they're definitely experiencing the world. You know.
And they'll probably be here if we all wipe each other out, you know. So they'll carry the mammalian torch on a little bit. Hopefully that they won't hold it against us. That we like mangled them for like a couple hundred years.
The dolphins will never forgive us, probably.
That's probably true.
There's definitely a cetacean insurrection brewing.
We said things not.
Yeah, it's true. we have said things not.
We said things not a lot.
For centuries.
Yeah. Hopefully they never find the documents.
Yeah.
So when humanity's
if
not,
they
then
figure out how to read like any,
we're fucked. We're fucked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you should say, I mean, like they're literally taking human neurons and putting them in mice, and you know, making it so that they're like. You know, they'll grow them in a certain culture so that you know, like I worked on a model where we were you know, looking at human pancreatic tissue in mice. I mean, all these Frankenstein shits are going on, and it's in everywhere, every little fucking community college, all of it, you know, like it's all.
Every time
like,
I talk to someone in STEM, it like blows my mind, like what kind of insane stuff like they're getting up to. You know, it's always like, oh yeah, like you know. Generally people who have like I've spoken to like after the podcast have been like, oh yeah, like I was involved in like, you know, drilling into somebody's brain to like control them, or what it's like, you know, like, we all do that. It's like, what? Like chill.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. But it's good.
That's
and it's a weird vibe, but I didn't realize how ubiquitous it was either. But it's cool to hear people like speaking out, even just if like privately. I don't know. Like people, you should I think it's a good thing to tell the people in your life, like, do you know what scientists do? Because otherwise they're just going to be like, oh, but like I'm in love with Dr. Fauci. Like he's so perfect. And it's like read about the puppy experiment. Like,
he certainly did the puppy experiment. Yeah. But probably like a lot of scientists are like, what? So what? Like I did the puppy experiment yesterday.
Which like okay, fine. But also like, that's a certain type of mentality.
Why are you doing the puppy experiment?
That is
like,
not
stop
exactly.
It. Yeah. Like,
stop doing that to
That's
puppy.
Also like all this vivisection stuff is like insane. Like whatever happened, like, you know, I thought in the Enlightenment when we all were going through the scientific revolution, wasn't everyone like an anti-vivisectionist? Wasn't that like a thing where it was like horrible? But then they're like, no, we'll ditch that part and we'll keep all the Dajjalic parts. Whatever.
Yeah, I really think that like it kind of comes down to what you guys talk about a lot, I guess, is that either the I always get ontology and epistemology confused, but between one of those two, I think that it comes down to, you know, basic Jurassic Park question. Why are we doing this? You know, should we be doing this? Should we? And that, like, you know, that part, growing that part of yourself is so important as a scientist, because you can get talked into doing some really bad stuff really early on as a young person in science. And they're just like, yeah, get in there and do it. Yeah. Just like, you know, use the hot wire to sterilize the thing. Like, just get up in there and poke it as hard as you can now.
Oh
and
my God.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, ontology and epistemology are quite heavily intertwined, so it's natural that there would be some. I mean, not only is it confusing between them, but there is a lot of like bleeding between them. And I think that like the sort of the methodologies of scientists, like, those are very like epistemically contingent. And that's like, you know, the sort of expectation that you do certain things, like that's definitely like an epistemological problem. But really, you know, our ontologies, in a way, like that's, I mean, we could talk about ontology, but as soon as we talk about it, like what we believe about it, it's just a matter of, you know, as an epistemological issue as well. So they're very difficult to divorce. But anyway, we will.
Anyways,
we should. Thank you very much, James.
Thank you very much.
This is our typical problem.
Very cool.
Just talking endlessly about anything. So
yes.
Word.
Hold on. I just want to.
I know.
Take a restroom break and maybe I don't know if we still got Drew time. Just chill, just hanging. I don't know if he wants to unmute himself. Maybe you guys can chat for a second. Then we'll bring Zamab on.
Oh, you know, that's a good point. Maybe we can have it.
I'll be like, I'm kind of like I think people like log onto the Zoom, they see me kind of like, who's this guy?
Yeah, he's our producer. This is our producer, like young Parenti over here.
Yes, exactly.
You know.
Hold on, I'll be back in just a second. Fill that space for me. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Do an ad or something.
See what I
got. Promote your band. Feel free.
Sure. Yeah. Check out @NotGoon on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
Cat Not Goon.
I'll type it in.
Right.
Let me get my plugin. And then
Not Goon. Okay.
Band is called Goon.
I thought it was Cat Not Goon.
Like no, Cat Not Goon.
Not Goon. Okay, yeah, Not Goon.
They're calling my cat that.
Yeah. So yeah. Wow. I'm on the air alone. This has never happened. Well, I guess I've done this on other podcasts, but never on SJ when Dimitri was just gone and I had to like fill the air on my own. It's a little bit odd, but at least we have
real coast to coast vibes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're submitting recording from somewhere in the middle of the Nevada desert. I wish. Yeah, so what else is up? It's your time. I
read The Controllers.
Oh yeah, that was actually like, even before I've definitely like gained like a lot of like conspiracy knowledge. Like I think people can probably tell that like I'm more of like the occult, like esoteric, like paranormal type person, and Dimitri is more the conspiracy type person. But that was something that I read like a while ago, and like before I was really into like the whole like the sussness around a feral house and everything. Like I remember reading The Controllers. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I do think that there is like I am still partial to the Jacques Vallée like idea that there is some kind of like Jin-Lee sussness going on with the UFO phenomenon and the abduction phenomenon, but I also think that there is definite merit to like what's said in The Controllers like as well. It's very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I kind of like I approach it from the same perspective, and I think with after reading The Controllers, it's so short, and it's kind of what's just kind of nice about it because
it's like a pamphlet. Yeah,
it's like a pamphlet for sure, and he makes like the his thesis whatever for whatever section you're in, and then it's done. Like it's just a few paragraphs each. But I think after seeing like when talking about like the nuts and bolts of like this remote magnetic mind control, but then you kind of throw in that like the Jacques Vallée more ultra terrestrial kind of approach. Anyways, I think that's kind of where I'm at right now in my UFO.
I'm like rereading for a Mothman episode with the Mothman prophecies, rereading Messengers of Deception. I thought there was like really interesting stuff there. I mean, Passport to Magonia, really good. I'd be interested to read like some more of Jacques Vallée's like more obscure works. Like I don't think I've read. I mean, this is not one of his more obscure works, but it would be interesting to read Operation Trojan Horse again. I think that was might have been Keel. But that's definitely on my docket to reread or maybe explore for SJ. But I think that those two things like kind of maybe go hand in hand in a way. I feel like the whole like the trickery involved, like and the illusionism like kind of involved in the sort of Controllers type thing of like these sort of fake abduction experiences or like these almost like ritualistic practices that they're doing, like that might in a way like feed the phenomena, or is like in some way like a parasite on the phenomena that isn't just a matter of like human beings being tricky, people. I think that there is something like to something more than that to the phenomenon. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that like there's, I mean, the thing is like this really is like the point that I think John Keel and Jacques Vallée like kind of were in a way on the forefront of making, along with like kind of the ancient aliens people from both the Soviet Union and the United States, is that like this really does conform with experiences that people have been having for a long ass time. Like changeling stuff, like fairy stuff, all sorts of things like that. Jinn, like in general, like conform to a lot of like cryptid or UFO experiences. So to say like that it's always been like the CIA, like that doesn't quite satisfy that. Like these like things have been going on, like they really do fit these formula in like in a very striking way. So I don't know.
Ain't nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, there really ain't nothing new under the sun. I mean, I think that's definitely true in a broad way. That's something I sometimes wonder, like, do we say it's the sun new under the sun too much? Because sometimes there are new things under the sun. I think we even got a question like, what if there was something new under the sun? But I think there are sometimes new things under the sun, but like and I think that that's like an important thing to like have like intention, but like everything that is new under the sun at the same time like kind of not new under the sun, and everything that isn't kind of is in some way kind of is. I think I think that it's important to always like in terms of like talking about history, it's important to always acknowledge like what things like do have a certain novelty or uniqueness, because like a lot of things do, and to the point that it almost becomes like banal to observe that like this isn't really just like the repetition of patterns. I think there's like one can really overcorrect on both ends when you have these really grand narratives of history, or then when you have this really precise kind of presentism or micro history where you're just like really overemphasizing the importance of a particular moment in time.
There's something to like when you brought up earlier like the Book of Gilgamesh, which I've not read. Book of Gilgamesh, I have not read that or many of the classics, but I'm always butchering it. But like when it comes to like some of the symbology or esoteric kind of side of things, I like to see what Secret Sun says about right. And, although he's got those like those Gen X, like kind of he'll go on a tangent about like cultural Marxists for a second. Like,
right.
But he's good about like like the ancient kind of studies of these things, and how like you can look at mind controlled assassins occurring thousands of years ago, and that maybe the whole MK Ultra UFO kind of combination from the controllers, whatever, you can kind of point to these like Alan Dole's kind of tapping into like entity possession. Maybe the whole point of MK Ultra was
I think that's super interesting. Yeah, that's fast. I mean, I is he talking about the Hashashin when he talks about mind controlled assassins, like in the past?
Probably. I don't know much about that, but
I'll
say yes.
Well, that is like the sort of rumor. I mean, I don't really know. I'd be interested to like read more about that, like, and really learn like the truth of like that situation, because that's not really like my like very specific pigeonhole like in terms of like that stuff, but it definitely crosses over like with the Islamic world and kind of SJ things. It's an interesting like notion, it'd definitely be interesting to explore like the sort of the old man in the mountain, that type of thing. But anyway, Dimitri's back, so maybe we can have another person come in.
Hieronymus has asked, I guess Zamab is in the waiting room, but I'm not sure if they want.
Let's get Zamab
They said they don't have a question. They were trying to join to hear the guest. But I will let them in if they want to say hi. Also, Hieronymus says, Dimitri, I hate to ask, but is there room in the chat for all of us to just chill with Drew? I guess
we can just like let people in and do a hand raise system. Like, do you want it like, or like,
I mean, we can just talk. Like, I'll let Samab in and they can hang up if they don't want to talk to us.
Whatever.
But you get in the waiting room, you're gonna get called on. Hand raise system. I don't even know how to do that, but
it's raise hand. It's in the box over here.
Hi, I didn't realize the waiting room was the question, so I was just trying to hear the guest. I apologize.
That's okay.
I thought that you were a sister until just now because of your avatar. Is that not a hijabi?
No, that is there's an album. It's kind of a meme. It became a meme now. That it's just like a 6-hour ambient.
More closely now. Yeah, I thought this was a hijabi from behind.
No, it's painting.
Twitter. Okay,
it's a painting. The guy's last name is Seele, Seele, and he does these paintings that look like things until you get close to them, essentially.
Interesting. Interesting.
So the theme of the album,
kind of a Rorschach thing.
Yeah. So the theme of that album is like losing your memory. So like that album art cover uses those paintings for that theme, essentially.
I see. Interesting.
It's been around for a while, but it became a meme. Like,
what's the album? Seele is the artist, and what's the album?
It's called the Everywhere at the End of Time, I believe. It's by The Caretaker. It's really long. It's
I think I actually remember this because people on like the 4chan music board would always be posting about like how this is the best album because it's so long, right? Yeah,
yeah, basically. And then like it did the rounds on like TikTok where people are like, the first hour, here's my face. Here's the second hour, here's me rapping, blah, blah, blah. Listening to a 6-hour album that just basically becomes white noise at the end.
Stage 2, the hiatus. Wow, it's like got year end, semester end, year end, semester end. Okay, interesting. Decade end. Huh. All
yeah,
right.
I like it. I like the guy's paintings more than I like the album, actually, because the album introduced me to that painter.
Yeah.
But I'm sad I missed the biology part.
Sorry.
It's
yeah,
all right. You'll hear it on the recording when it drops.
Yeah,
because this
that
will
sounds
be
great.
an ep. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What we
Oh,
were
we got
suggesting- yeah.
Young Howler has returned into the
Young
waiting room.
Howler is actually. Let's try to make it happen.
We could try to make
Yeah,
it happen.
you can let him in.
All right. All
Kick
right.
me out.
Here we go.
We'll
I'll
let
put
you
you back.
chill
I'll
in
put you back
here.
in the waiting.
Okay.
Or if you just
All
want to hang out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know at what point it.
Well, people
gets
want to be able to
overloaded.
hear the guests, but I guess they can't. Well, maybe people can just unmute themselves in the Discord grotto or the voice grotto. That might be like just a system. But anyway, whatever.
I think so.
Let's let
Anyways,
Young Howler in
we're
if we can.
trying to let Young Howler in. We have Hieronymus on deck too, but let's see if we can get the Howler.
Oh, I heard something.
I hear a howl in the night. Is it a
Young
dog
Howler?
man? Is it?
Is it Young Howler? Yeah. Is it?
Right. I think the volume might be low, but we did hear you.
There
Young
was a
Howler.
dog man looking in and grinning.
I feel like the world is gonna end.
I'm hearing
heard-
like little sounds. This is very like.
This is like the Area
Are they
51 caller.
triangulating
Like,
on
are
your
you
position pretty
Are you
soon?
being
Yeah.
followed, Young Howler?
Yeah. Like,
Are you being pursued?
are they?
There isn't much
earlier
time.
s-
Oh, hey, Young
presence of
Howler,
our
what's
space
up?
Program.
We
I
got
hear
the
your
Young
mouth
Howler.
moving. You're gonna have to hold up cards to like communicate with us. We can read them out loud.
Blink 3 times if you're being held hostage right now, like in those TikTok videos. Like, can you secretly signal to us whether or not he's blinking? Oh my God. What do we do? We didn't even think
don't
about what
know.
to do if somebody calls in being like chased by the globalists and like we have to help them.
I mean, I feel like maybe they just want to be heard at that point. I don't know.
Good point. Yeah. You've already
I feel
already
like we don't have to.
crossed the Rubicon. Still
Can you
can't
hear me
hear
now?
Oh, yes. Wait, that
I
was
heard you for
better.
a second.
Okay.
You're in a library. Or maybe you're in your.
Now I can't really hear you. I don't
We
know
can
if
hear
this
you.
is going to work.
We can hear you just fine.
No, we can hear you now. Oh, but you can't
Yeah.
hear. Yeah, you might have to fiddle with your Zoom settings.
Okay, there's my ear. I think it's on fucking phone.
Can you hear us? Are we audible? What? Oh, he's gone again. Wow. Very fleeting.
Mysterious. Well, maybe, okay, we're going to put Young Howler back in the waiting room and they can check their settings on their phone
Right.
because you might not be
Goodbye
able to
again.
do 2 things. In the meantime, we got Hieronymus.
All right, Hieronymus.
Let's bring them in. The cheerleader
Yeah, someone who's definitely been giving us a lot of moral support.
support
this whole time.
system. Hey, Hieronymus. How's it going?
Hey, what up?
Oh, wait, connecting to audio. We don't
Oh,
hear you
connected.
yet.
All
but-
right, we got him.
Okay, how about now?
Hey, sorry about that, guys.
No problem.
Hey, what's up, man?
We've definitely had bigger technical issues than that. That was nothing. That was just normal.
Yeah. No, this seems to be going nicely. How's it going?
Good, pretty good. Got a little anxious waiting there, but not bad. How are you guys doing?
All right,
We're having a good time,
show.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
episode 100, yeah.
This is just
Hell yeah.
taking shape in real time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like,
Well, I'm just here to chill with Drew. Since we took
right?
the guest.
Where's Drew?
What up?
Where's Drew? Yeah.
Had to go to the bathroom, and need to turn my mic
Pedro.
off. Whatever.
Word.
All right, I'll mute myself though. No worries.
All right.
We'll just like chime in, like
Right.
mid thought of like the guest. Like,
Yeah. All right.
like
So
Alex Jones style interruptions.
you
So
guys can be like our. Wow. Yeah. This is what we need. We need like instead of having ourselves like look up things, we need. This is like our Joe Rogan. We can get like
Our
Joe Rogan
Jamie.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Jamie.
Jamie
look
looked it up. Jamie
Look
looked
it
it
up.
up.
Is it true that like Pakistanis are stupid or like whatever like Gavin McGinnis is telling him? I'm
Or just
sorry.
like mid dab in the corner, like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. I see why people do it now. It's
Yeah.
it's very comfortable.
Self-contained
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's good. It's good. Do you have anything anything to throw out there, Hieronymus? Like anything been what's on your mind in this new year?
Well, a lot, but if anything,
maybe just Waldorf. I threw out. I know you guys have touched on it briefly in the past, but I've only heard a little bit here and there, a little from Program to Chill the other day about it being, Luciferian, and I mentioned I had a friend who went there, and he was describing some of like the rituals. And Lydia, hopefully, maybe we could get Lydia in the chat too and get a little, start shooting the shit. Would love to hear about her experience, but
I believe it was Lydia, aka L, was our first caller. I think. Oh. Were you listening at the very beginning?
No. I slept in. I totally missed it.
She called in and was telling us about her experience in the Waldorf world, going to the schools and everything. Yeah. So I guess you'll hear it when the episode drops. It'll come out. But it was got some interesting firsthand observations of the gnome worship, and I guess how all the teachers have to go through like the training and kind of be down with like anthroposophy, and like you don't last if you're not, if you don't go to like the night classes and study up on gnomology. And I guess there's like some weird like racial essentialism stuff like lurking underneath the surface. It's like kind of sublimated, but like if you look at a certain angle, you see it there.
Oh my God, interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sorry I don't have anything new to provide.
No, it's quite all right. We've certainly we covered it well, I think, today. And
oh yeah,
I think in the past you probably heard our Q&A discussion of like the Waldorf schools like way back. It was probably months ago. But
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah, somebody was asking about whether or not they should send their kid. I think on a side note of that, like didn't we read a Noah Berlatsky article about him sending his kid to a Waldorf school?
Yes, we did, and that was even before Noah Berlatsky's like prostasia.
Wait, did he get like fired from? They did have a huge like flame up recently.
Well, I don't know.
Or did people just discover them?
Fired? I think it was just that they discovered that. Yeah, people just found out. Like, I think it just entered normie space, like the whole thing of protasia, and like Noah Berlatsky like wouldn't back down. He's like, I am proud to work for Protasia, and like all the like important work that they do, like to destigmatize like minor attracted persons. Like,
right. Every time he goes off on a tangent like that, like defending like Prostasia, like I do go back to their website to like check, because it's almost like are they trying to bait me into like hating them because of like, the way they're kind of presenting themselves or whatever. And I try to look, and it's like, is really what they're saying like super sus and ball? And it is. Every time you go on the website, like all the articles are like
Prostasia website is age play safety guide, the hazards of age playing online. Like cool.
All of it's couched in like this kind of harm reduction, like self-care or like blah blah blah.
How we're gonna prevent like child molestation, but like it's all about like protecting and helping like the pedophiles.
Yeah,
like,
it really is.
Like,
It's kind of a pedophile support network.
It and we like give, absolutely it is. Like if we like destigmatize it and like give them like like anime child porn or something, that will help them like not hurt real kids. Like if we give them like a support network, then that will make so like child molestation doesn't happen. Like I don't think that's how it works. Like
no, not at all.
I don't think that if you like give people guidelines to like do age play, I feel like that's like not preventative necessarily. Like
I wish I could remember right now who is bankrolling.
And there was even more like sus stuff about them, like that even like strikes the eye immediately. I remember reading like some even more like sus stuff about like what they had actually done and like spent their resources on.
I think they had a message board that maybe got like taken down or something, and they were like, this is a critical resource for maps, like to basically safely talk
the
to
map
like
support club.
Yeah, which like,
it's actually still online.
Oh, really? And didn't that admit like teenagers into it?
You can sponsor it for I think that they right.
That was the thing. It's like it was literally a place where
$250 a year, and you can be a member for just $5 a year. Wow.
This is like literally like I wouldn't be surprised. Like Lucien Greaves is like on the board. The Prostasia Foundation and like all the false memory syndrome people. This has extreme like false memory system foundation like vibes basically, which is interesting because that group disbanded itself in I think 2019.
13 and older, since the average age at which minor 50 people discover their attractions is 14 years old. This is an important endeavor in helping teenagers come to terms with their attractions in a harm-free and law-abiding way. Are you kidding me?
Oh God.
That's out. That's beyond. Yeah, this is.
Kink
They're not like even
awareness.
hiding it. Yeah.
And they're definitely the type of people that like they should make like child like sex dolls. Like that's so fucking gross.
There's a whole
to say.
article exploring the use of fictional and fantasy sexual outlets.
And like this is where I guess you would say like this is where the sort of like Coomer brain of like the internet kind of like porn addict logic, I think, like rears its ugly head of like
the hydraulic theory, like that. Like if you jack off to porn,
a release valve.
It's a release valve.
Like it makes the world safer. It makes males like less aggressive and like blah blah blah, and therefore like you could take that to being like, oh well, if you have a VR thing and blah blah blah, like it's not actually.
Yeah, I remember people like saying that to me, where it's like if I didn't have porn, like I would cheat on my girlfriend. It's that's not how porn works. Like it doesn't like stop you from being horny. Like if the more porn you watch, like the hornier you will be. Like
exactly,
at least it's at least like a net like nothing. Like it probably is what I said, but at the very least, it is not a release valve. It does not like prevent. I think that it probably like stokes your horniness and like teaches you not to have like and generally just most of the images in porn are just like violence and like borderline rape, like in terms of what like mainstream pornography is.
Yes, I'm looking at the like the financial kind of fact sheet or whatever of Prostasia, and on the board of directors they have some interesting kind of people here. One is Maggie McNeil is a writer, sex worker, and former librarian. She writes a daily blog called The Honest Courtesan, which examines the realities, myths, history, lore, science, philosophy, art, and every other aspect of prostitution. Okay. And the other guy, Jeremy Malcolm, has a PhD, who's a lawyer, human rights activist, and his previous employers include the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Cool.
Electronic Frontier.
That John Perry Barlow, baby, very rad. And somebody who is the founder of the Global Prevention Project and the Namaste Center for Healing.
Right.
An expert witness who administers sex-specific mental health evaluations and blah, blah, blah. So it's like people, okay, like I'm not seeing a lot of people with PhDs.
All sorts of people have PhDs.
We have a neurobiologist psychology PhD, specializing in the neurobiology of pedophilia and its translation into the prevention of child sexual abuse. Interesting way of phrasing.
It's amazing to me how like they have like this picture of like a like girl dressed up like a teen like schoolgirl like as the banner for their age play safety tips article. They have like do you see this? They have like this like it seems like an ad for like a porn, like a like teen gets like destroyed porn like that they have here. Like
oh my god.
I'm looking at it. It ain't right.
Really, it's just very bizarre. Like does not seem like
they just posted 49 minutes ago a quote from I guess some article. Fantasies are a big part of why we go to porn. Our fantasies can't be understood through any single data point. They are often a complex manifestation of a bunch of different parts of us. Like cool, like what the fuck? They're just they're on that sex positive tip. Extremely sex positive, I guess.
Positive, yeah.
So yeah, they posted I guess 6 hours ago age like with a bunch of don't equal signs. Age play doesn't equal pedophilia. Age regression, not pedophilia. Fan fiction, not pedophilia. Lolicon shotacon, not pedophilia. Pedophilia, not child sexual abuse. Spread knowledge, not misinformation. I like that. Okay, so age playing. Okay, I mean, like, okay, yeah, technically true, but y'all are very invested in like defending kind of like very specific. Like, I don't know. It seems.
Yeah. Oh no! Like their focus is basically on
to the point of being loving pedophiles.
Yeah, they're focused on helping pedophiles. Like they say like, oh, if we help pedophiles, that will help children.
Yeah, they have a social media influencer and cam girl on their advisory council, like alongside a bunch of like PhD people.
Well,
so they're in touch with the streets, like
mass line.
Yeah, exactly. This is their mass pedo line. Oh my God.
I'm sorry if I missed it. Was there a connection between Prostasia and Waldorf?
Well, it's tangential because Noah Berlatsky, the journalist, he wrote like, I think it was like in the Atlantic or something like a couple years ago, a big long article about why he thought he made a correct decision in sending his son to a Waldorf school, even though he had to learn about gnomes and stuff like that. And and kind of, I think he even kind of said like, better than learning about some religious like like at a Catholic school or something, you know. And it's like, but I'm happy that like, because they trust science, that blah blah blah. And it was just kind of like whatever, like Noah Berlatsky. But then he raised some eyebrows, I think, like in the last year or two, when he turned up, like he ended up getting hired by Prostasia and started writing articles and like basically just adopted like the political line of Prostasia and became like the map explainer / defender like on Twitter, and everyone was like, what the fuck? So yeah, I guess that's not a direct connection to the Waldorfs like per se. It's just that he's a guy who enjoyed sending his child to a Waldorf school and enjoys writing articles for Prostasia. And like, maybe those come from two different parts of his, you know, his life that aren't connected, but it's just an interesting thing to
definitely some good background.
This is interesting. You know, just popped onto the Greek word study tool here on Perseus. Just looking into the LSJ here, the definitions of Prostasia in Greek. Some of them include standing before or at the head of, leadership, chieftainship, presidency, you know, a bunch of things meaning leadership or authority, governorship, and then superintendent's care charge of a midwife before taking up a charge, or of a wet nurse, you know, so it can be that type of like you know,
a mentor, maybe.
Yeah, like kind of like a someone who's like in place of parents, you know, a wet nurse, and like
oh god.
And then this is a good alternate definition: outward dignity, pomp, or show.
That about
a little bit of a duping delight maybe going on there.
They almost do have a little duping delight in all their content.
Patronage,
it's like,
or protection, or in a bad sense, partisanship. I'd say so.
Micro grants, funding for your sex positive prevention project.
Awesome.
All right, any of the scientists listening right now, you want to get your micro grant from the Prostasia Foundation? Dear God, what are they studying? Okay. Oh, here they go. 2021. Okay. The Brooklyn Ghost Project received a contribution towards its Saving Our Own Lives, or SOOL program. Okay. So it sounds like this is like, okay, helping like Black, transgender, nonconforming youth, homeless, runaways, and adults to basically to help them transition and things like that. Okay, so they're just giving money to that. Nothing particularly sus there. Maybe Bridges for Life, trauma sensitive yoga for sexual abuse thrivers. Okay.
So is Noah Berlatsky still not involved anymore? I don't see him on the team. I guess not. I guess it was too controversial. Maybe, I don't know. Should we bring in someone else?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's okay. Yeah, sorry. We could get lost in the Prostasia hole all day. I wonder if Young Haller is I wonder how they're doing with their, should we try it?
Might as well. We might as well.
Might as well. All right, Young Haller. Here we go.
Yeah, he's no longer affiliated according to his Twitter.
Okay, so he got some heat for it, I think, last year. I forget what happened.
You know, he was doing harm. He was drawing attention to them, you know, negative attention. So, yeah.
Interesting. If I may add one last thing before Haller hops in.
Yes.
You know, reading through the article, there's like an essence of pretend to both things, you know? That's kind of an overlap there. You know, blurring of, you know, some line in that way. But just interesting observation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised, like if, I mean, they both involve like, you know, the rearing of children in some way, I guess, the Waldorf school and this type of thing. And I feel like they both are kind of, I mean, at least Elle mentioned they have some kind of like Greek mythology, you know, appreciation that happens there, and things like that. So I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know. It's
interesting.
It looks
stuff.
like he's still associated with them as of Yeah, I mean, he's still on the website. I found him.
Oh, you found him on the website?
Noah Berlatsky. Yeah, there was an article called "Is Noah Berlatsky Getting Canceled?" from September.
Mm-hmm. He ain't done yet.
But no, they actually okay. They explicitly do advocate for the legalization of sex dolls, claiming they can take the place of a child in a pedophile's erotic imagination.
Yeah, that's why they're like on their Twitter, like Shotacon and Lolicon is not, pedophilia, because that's like anime, like child porn.
All right, sorry to hold you up. Howler, take it away.
Yes, sorry.
All right. Cool. What's up, Howler?
Nothing much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. Oh, you got the headphones on now.
Yeah, they got my phone. It's don't know what's up there. I guess something that I've been curious about is like the history, like the timeline of the discovery of mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms. It just all seems a bit. I really have difficulty. I'm just a bit incredulous that Paul Wasson is like the guy, that there's been nothing, these things grow like all over everywhere, Europe and in the Americas. And like, of course, there's some indigenous use, but it just seems like there's very little written history about that. And I don't know what's up there.
Yeah, I'm not like I don't know like super well like what the history would be. I don't know. Do you know, Dimitri? I mean, I feel like they
of psilocybin mushrooms.
Psilocybin mushrooms. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know.
There's definitely they've definitely, I think, have found kind of like archaeological evidence of humans.
Well, I don't know.
Going back
getting
and
into
doing
some
them.
kind of like stoned ape stuff. Like, I want to know, like, because
no. I mean,
am a little bit sussed out by some of this like new microdosing craze. Like, I've been starting to hear like issues of people like microdosing too much, and it's kind of slipping into macrodosing. I feel like that's kind of stuff that started to percolate a little bit.
I heard recently that lawyers in like Silicon Valley are all obsessed with microdosing, and they're all like, which feels like I could understand like a guy running a tech company who's just sitting around all day, like kind of smelling his own farts, like thinking how like genius and outside of the box he is, like, but like I feel like lawyering, like just doing law work feels like, isn't that not fun? Like, why? Like, I don't know, like the sitting around, I don't know, it's but for that to be normalized too, not like lawyers are more like alcoholics, and like they love cocaine and stuff like that. You don't think about it, but I guess now that it's just like a business drug, and people I guess microdose with psilocybin as well, so they'll like have like a little bit of like shroom tea every morning or something like that. And I think that is sus. Like, definitely, whatever the cultural uses of psilocybin mushrooms were, or other psychedelics, and there is like a long like tradition that probably does go back like thousands. Without getting into stoned ape shit, like there definitely was a use of it, but they weren't using it the way like a Silicon Valley like tech bro would be microdosing. You know what I mean? Like,
just,
it's totally
again, like
from its context and
I'm a big dilettante when it comes to this subject, but it is interesting to me, like reading this, like just from Wikipedia. They say archaeological artifacts from Mexico, as well as the so-called Mayan mushroom stones of Guatemala, have also been interpreted by some scholars as evidence for ritual and ceremonial usage of psychoactive mushrooms in the Mayan and Aztec cultures of Mesoamerica. In Nahuatl, the language of the Aztecs, the mushrooms were called Tionanacatl, or God's flesh. Following the arrival of Spanish explorers to the New World in the 16th century, chroniclers reported the use of mushrooms by the natives for ceremonial and religious purposes. According to the Dominican friar Diego Duran in the History of the Indies of New Spain, mushrooms were eaten in festivities conducted on the occasion of the accession to the throne of the Aztec Emperor Montezuma II in 1502. The Franciscan friar Bernardo di Sahagún, famous chronicler, wrote of witnessing mushroom usage in his Florentine Codex and described how some merchants would celebrate upon returning from a successful business trip by consuming mushrooms to evoke revelatory visions. So that does seem to be like, I'm sure there's something there, but it is interesting that it's all coming, like that a lot of the sort of history is coming from like that type of source of like kind of colonial chronicles or indigenous chronicles, like coming out of that environment or mediated by the Spanish conquerors. Mm-hmm. It says, after the defeat of the Aztecs, the Spanish forbade traditional religious practices and rituals they considered pagan idolatry, including ceremonial mushroom use. For the next 4 centuries, the Indians of Mesoamerica hid their use of entheogens from the Spanish authorities. So like, it's kind of, I don't know, I need to look more into it, but it's an interesting kind of like, it's a convenient type of like historical narrative that you hear a lot of the time. And this is something that's also interesting, like on a parallel way. Not to say that like, I'm sure that there was some psychoactive mushroom use on both sides, but it's kind of interesting how like there, it kind of fits in very conveniently with this sort of like 60s psychedelia type of narrative. Although dozens of species of psychedelic mushrooms are found in Europe, there is little documented usage of these species in old world history besides the use of Amanita muscaria among Siberian peoples. The few existing historical accounts of psilocybin mushrooms typically lack sufficient information to allow species identification and usually refer to the nature of their effects. For example, Flemish botanist Carolus Clusius described the bolon gomba, crazy mushroom, used in rural Hungary to prepare love potions. English botanist John Parkinson included details about a quote-unquote foolish mushroom in his 1640 herbal Theatricum Botanicum. The first reliably documented report of intoxication with psilocybe seta, Europe's most common and widespread psychedelic mushroom, involved a British family in 1799 who prepared a meal with mushrooms they had picked in London's Green Park. So it is interesting that there's like kind of like a sparsity of information. Like it kind of seems like a bit marginal, like in the, the European history, and a lot of like the sort of indigenous history of it is mediated through the sources of, the European conquerors that we know of. There might be or like indigenous scholars or indigenous people who know better about that tradition, which I'm sure there's something to, in the same way that I'm sure there's something to like the use of the Amanita mushroom in Siberia, or the use of the bolon gomba in rural Hungary for love potions, things like that. But it's, it does seem like from that little blurb, it's weird that you would think, like I was expecting a lot more from that Wikipedia article. You'd think that there'd be like Arrowwood people like all over this talking about the extensive evidence of like how mushrooms have always helped us to become gods or whatever, you would think.
Yeah, but I mean, I think a lot of that stuff is lost to like oral traditions and things of that nature. Like sure. You're more likely because there's like iboga in like West Africa, which is also like a psychoactive substance that people would take in a kind of like religious context, like spiritual context. But also part of the reason I think it feels so sus is because like the introduction of like psychedelics in the modern era really just kind of like almost like dropped out of the sky one day, like relatively speaking. Like it wasn't really an organic discovery. What was it? Like not Robert Anton. Yeah, but wait.
Yeah.
No, Carlos Castaneda. And then like Allen Ginsberg, William S. Burroughs, like the Yage letters and stuff. And then getting, I think it was Castaneda who was kind of profiled in Life magazine when Henry Luce was running it as like, hey, look at this like cool new mystical drug. And I forget the name of the Mexican woman who allegedly like introduced Castaneda to psilocybin, but it was something like there was bullshit involved basically. We should circle back and do a real like forensic history of like how is it introduced into the culture and like presented in a certain type of way, because then I think everything that followed after
but a lot of what Castaneda said was just made up.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like, he pulled a lot of shit out of his ass and like claimed like, oh, I met this mystical woman in Mexico and like she gave me like mushrooms in a ceremony and she taught me all of her wisdom. So now I'm going to go back and tell you. But it's like he really just like pulled a bunch of different crap kind of out of his ass and it was very heavily mediated by like a proto new agey kind of mentality, like a Western mentality to it, which is like, like even today you see with like ayahuasca, like American, like people in Silicon Valley love that stuff. I think it's so enlightening. But like I think there was some Netflix like documentary about ayahuasca and all these like churches that have popped up like around the country, because now it's sort of like quasi legalized. But they were explaining, they went to like an ayahuasquero like in Peru, and they like explained like the traditional function of like a ayahuasca ceremony, and it was basically for like it was like a medicinal ritual. And the way it worked was the shaman would drink the ayahuasca, and you would like lie down on a table or something, and they'd like burn a bunch of things. And then the shaman would have the psychedelic experience and enter into the spirit plane, and then receive like a song from like the Claxton Men or whoever. And then they would come back, and then they would perform the song, and the song was the medicine that would heal the person. Which, like, just, I mean, maybe I'm butchering a thing or two, but like, just think of how different of a paradigm that is from like, I'm going to go and do ayahuasca myself and then like psyop myself into like enlightenment, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, for them, it's like not even a thing. Like that's not the medicine. It's like a thing that allows the shaman to go into the spirit world to get a song to heal you, which is just like a totally different, like,
this is an
like,
amazing
paradigm.
abstract from a keynote article from the International Journal of Ecopsychology by J.C. Fikes, PhD. It's from the Digital Commons at Humboldt University, so maybe he's affiliated with Humboldt, but or maybe the journal is. But either way, it has a great abstract, which is referencing his book, like the Travels of Don Juan or whatever. Don Juan is a fictional character. Yaqui and Sonora and Arizona have no history of peyote rituals. These two facts help explain why, by 1975, Castaneda's followers were seeking shamans comparable to Don Juan among the Huicho of Mexico. In recent years, peyote tourists have invaded the sacred land where Huicho venerate the peyote spirit. The rising tide of tourists in that area is rapidly depleting peyote and has stimulated Mexican authorities to incarcerate Huicho peyote hunters. In the early 1990s, Castaneda created a cult, Tensegrity, which taught disciples stylized movements combining Tai Chi, modern dance, and karate. He established an inner circle, demanding that his followers sever all family ties or erase personal history. He seduced women followers and probably induced several of them to commit suicide. Castaneda is erratic, acting out, and his insistence that followers cut themselves off entirely from everyone essential to perpetuating their identity exemplified harmful practices described by his followers.
So he was Ghazi, basically.
Yeah, it sounds like he was just, again, that's an example of nothing new under the sun. Another Ghazi here. Yeah. So yeah, he was basically saying that like, he got psilocybin in a place where like it wasn't even used at all. And there was no real history of its use. So that's pretty sus. And like, in terms of like the iboga thing, it is interesting that like iboga isn't something that like, has the same status as psilocybin like at all. It might just be that people have like a different experience with it, or that they enjoy it less or whatever. But it's
also one that got slandered by Hunter S. Thompson when he like literally did a disinfo operation in the 1972 primaries and kept like negging Ed Muskie, and like wrote some article about how he was an Ibogaine addict. And like that's why he just like was such a seething like freak who was just like out of control. And like somebody asked Ed Muskie one day at like a press conference like if he was an Ibogaine addict, and he like started crying and like destroyed his campaign or something. Like, so I mean, we know Hunter Thompson was a security guard at Esalen, and very close to that Castaneda kind of crowd like in the early formative years. So why was he? And then where do we get adrenochrome from, right? Why is Hunter Thompson spreading all this disinformation about various psychedelics? Or was he trying to kind of like shitcoat them so that people wouldn't, actually no, because he like glorified all of it. So who knows with that? But it is, like the bottom line is that he totally pulled it, like Castaneda, and then everybody that built on, like whether it's like Leary or like Ram Dass or like all these other people, we're just building upon like some kind of made up hodgepodgey bullshit projection onto like South American culture that was like, oh wow, like we found like the secret tradition. But I think in a lot of in Castaneda's case, he like just lied and made up a lot of it and pretended, which I feel like that's what every shaman today does. Like there's a whole industry of that now, of being like, I represent the sacred tradition. Like they know how to sell it to Westerners.
Mm-hmm.
They figured it out. You know, they just want to change those images of man.
Yeah.
And stuff. But I don't think that, you know, they're bad like in isolation.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily, but it is interesting. Careful. Like, you know, I do find like the well, in terms of like the history issue, I found like the psyop, like I feel like maybe the indications of a psyop around it to be like, obviously people have used like entheogens or psychoactive substances like throughout history a lot. I mean, alcohol is something that's been widely used across various cultures that I would say is like worse than psilocybin because it's mentioned in the Quran as being bad. You know, weed is something that's been widely used and widely mentioned. Mushrooms, like I feel like it is very interesting, and I'm sure there is something to it. And like someone who has like a connection with that indigenous tradition would probably be able to speak to it more accurately. But I do find it interesting that that is like the main thing that people point to is that there is like a tradition that was like that existed in the past, like in Mexico, because there are so many psychoactive mushrooms there that was then suppressed. And like, you know, we don't really know too much about it. It's one of those closed things. You know, it's interesting. It's kind of in a way, you know, if I might be like permitted to say so, I think that it's a fair point that like a convenient aspect of like the horrible genocide that was inflicted on the indigenous peoples of the Americas is that like now the figure of like the native sage can be invoked so easily when like so much of the knowledge, not all of it, like, you know, and that's not what I want to represent, but like so much of the knowledge was like, you know, wiped out or made less accessible. Basically, like, you know, people like Carlos Castaneda kind of represent themselves as like the keepers of this wisdom, because like the actual ones have been, you know, systematically just like pushed out of history. And like, you know, who can like, you know, who really is the authority to say like to what extent? Like we would know a lot better if it weren't for like, you know, the genocide basically that happened almost immediately upon like after the Spanish conquest, you know, or at least like the horrible like ethnic cleansing and like cultural imperialism and you know, genocide that occurred. So like we would have a much better idea of like the actual uses of mushrooms and what they were. Obviously there's archaeological work that can be done, there's oral histories, but you know, just imagine like the wealth of knowledge that we would have like if that hadn't happened. So it's convenient. It's very convenient for them now that they can sort of say, you know, that some of these figures can say like, oh, you know, I did, and kind of exploit the ignorance that's been perpetuated to say like, oh, you know, these magic mushrooms were used by the magical Indians, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's sus to me.
Yeah. Does that answer your question about mushrooms, young Haller?
No, but I appreciated the discussion. Also, I just wanted to mention while you were talking, I remembered something that the Ghost Stories for the End of the World fella mentioned on one of his episodes on psychedelics and the CIA and MK all that. I can't remember the title of it. It may have been like an academic article, actually, but that he cited when he mentioned that psilocybin was actually used by English peasantry during the medieval period. I don't know what there is to substantiate that, but yeah, I just remembered that, which. Again,
is that druidic, like, you know, Celtic undercurrent in that corner of Europe. And I don't know, before the enclosure of the commons, like maybe, but it does feel weird how there's like so sparse of a historical record in Europe of these mushrooms that grow everywhere. Like they mostly seem to like, they did catalog them at various points, but it didn't seem like, at least in the centers of culture where they were recording things, and maybe due to the nature of like Christianity, this is the type of thing that like, particularly like villagers, like peasant villagers who might be illiterate are not going to like write down. But, you know, maybe that was way more normalized before like Christianity arrived, or even during Christianity, because we know that like different pagan kind of ritualistic elements, like in Ireland, for example, still like coexisted alongside like Catholicism for a long time before maybe getting phased out like eventually. But I could believe it that English peasants like in the Middle Ages were, gooming.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like, yeah, you think like there's sort of a different sociological like context for these type of things. Like, yeah, I think that you make a good point that like in the past, like the use of hallucinogenic mushrooms would be associated with like religious uses. It's not just something that you would do like recreationally. Like the idea of like a recreational drug use like was, like maybe recreational hallucinogen use does seem to have been like a bit less prominent in the past, like I would say, just like based on my historical knowledge, which is not universal, but but usually like it seems to be much more commonly associated like with religious use, but yeah, and I mean like the religious use would be like it's not really a thing in Christianity to use like hallucinogens like in mainstream normative European Christianity. So yeah, it might have been suppressed in that way, but yeah, I'm gonna try to look up like psilocybin use in Europe, like peasantry, see if I can find anything.
And I think it's also to a pretty great extent being shit coded by things like you've mentioned, like the Stoned Ape theory and like sacred mushroom and the cross.
Oh my god, yeah,
is another one. When I've tried looking into it,
right
that's really like. I mean, that's the first 10 pages of the Google results for sure. And another explanation I've come across is, it's like a terrifying experience. And they were often recorded as just poisonous mushrooms. Like you eat it, you think you're dying. Like,
Which, I mean, maybe that is how it ended up being, is like, these are just like mushrooms that make you delirious, like fever mushrooms. Like, why would you want to do that? Like,
commented. Like I remember, like at least like in one like Chinese chronicle, there's like these are poisonous mushrooms that you shouldn't take.
Which in a way they like are kind of like, but some poisons we like and we find useful in some ways, but it does depend on like the context. Like set and setting, right? Like there is a truth to that if you're just randomly eating them and you've only ever been told they're poisonous, and then you eat them and you're like, oh shit, like I'm seeing fractal patterns everywhere, like this is demonic. I feel sick, like it's just not very exciting. But especially now with like the churchification of psychedelics, because that's the other like the microdosing is one trend, but then I started notice probably after I started following Gaia on Instagram, that I started getting all these ads for like this and that church in like Los Angeles that is doing like ayahuasca retreats, and like they're just openly advertising, or they're doing, or the DMT from toads, like that I guess that's where like the licking toad meme came from. But now they like synthesize. I think, didn't Hamilton Morris have like an episode where they go get like toad DMT and it was like
I think so. They
something
did the licking toads.
Exactly. So like, but these, because now they found a loophole. I think there was a Supreme Court decision years ago about a Native American tribe in Arizona doing peyote, and they ruled as like a First Amendment thing that like you got to allow people to do it. So now like everybody who's in a cult that wants to give people psychedelic drugs, you just have to say you're a church, and it's like very fly by night, like so I started following a few of these that I kept getting sponsor spammed on Instagram, just to like see what they're posting, and it's like it is kind of like, do these people know like what they're like signing up to go on a ride for, and like who's running it, and are they all going to get psyoped into some like weird kind of like Snow White 7am like new agey shit and end up like, who the fuck knows? But it just seems like so reckless, like I would say the American approach, like even in its more like kind of organized, like sinister like sense, it's like reckless on a personal level. It's just like throwing psychedelics at people and then trying to do like kind of NLP, like self-help motivational, like kind of brainwashing, like in a positive way. But I feel like it's only going to go in one direction, which is like you're going to talk to the snake god, and then you're going to be reprogrammed to like serve him when the end of the Mayan calendar comes in 3 years, blah blah blah, and like and all the billionaires in Silicon Valley are secretly on your side, and they're white hats. So like, trust them. Like, I could see in a whole generation of people who are searching, getting sucked into like, these fly by night organizations and things.
Yeah, I'm like flipping through some articles about like the history of psilocybin mushroom use, you know, and the sort of controversy around it. I find this interesting article about this guy doing like field work in churches to try to find, you know, like proof of. Let me read the abstract because it's pretty interesting. In light of new historical evidence regarding ethnomycologist R. Gordon Wasson's correspondence with art historian Ewan Panofsky, this article provides an in-depth analysis of the presence of entheogenic mushroom images in Christian art with the context of the controversy between Wasson and philologist John Marco Allegro over the identification of a Garden of Eden fresco in the 12th century chapel of Plain Clorault in France. It reveals a compelling financial motive for Wasson's refusal to acknowledge that this fresco represents Amanita muscaria, as well as for Wasson's reluctance to pursue his hypothesis regarding the entheogenic origins of religion into Christian art and artifacts. While Wasson's view that the presence of psychoactive mushrooms in the Near Middle East ended around 1000 BCE, prevailed and stymied research into entheogens in Christianity for decades, a new generation of 21st century researchers has documented growing evidence of A. muscaria and psilocybin containing mushrooms in Christian art, consistent with ethnobotanist Giorgio Samarini's typology of mushroom trees. This article presents original photographs taken during fieldwork at churches and cathedrals throughout Europe and the Middle East that confirm the presence of entheogenic mushrooms in Christian art, in frescoes, illuminated manuscripts, mosaics, sculptures, and stained glass windows. Based on this iconic evidence, the article proposes a psychedelic gospels theory and addresses critiques of the theory by art historians, ardent advocates, medieval historians, and conservative Catholics. It calls for the establishment of an interdisciplinary committee on the psychedelic gospels to independently evaluate the growing body of evidence of entheogenic mushrooms in Christian art in order to resolve a controversial question regarding the possible role of entheogens in the history and origins of Christianity. So
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff like does seem like art that has mushrooms in it. I don't know if I would say that this necessarily points to the use of like psilocybin, but definitely some of his drawings, like some of the frescoes he found, is definitely like, but it also like seems highly tangentious, and like some of it is like there's one there's just like he has like a close-up detail of like these kind of folds in the robes of the apostles like during the Last Supper, and he's saying like the folds are like in the shape of like the head of a mushroom. So it's like very much like kind
okay,
of like,
that's kind of like zooming in on like the video of the plane hitting the towers and being like, see, it's like it's a hologram, like it's kind of
it melts into the tower. Like,
there's more. Well, there's like I feel like there's more compelling ways to like attack that by like, I don't know, a lot of the Gnostic Gospels are incredibly trippy, like they're
but
very
does that
surreal.
mean that people were taking psychedelics? Like
not
that's
necessarily,
like kind of,
not necessarily, but you never know. Like those Essenes and those like desert kind of communities of like religious communities in like the first century were, I don't know, maybe they were eating locusts, right? Like what is it that makes you like go into a land, you know, the locust eaters, right?
That's a lotus eater.
Lotus eater. So yeah, so they were eating lotus back then and going insane, right? I mean,
but I don't think that
doesn't that sound like Burning Man?
Lotus is actually I mean, they obviously are referring to some kind of
like some kind of thing,
you know, drug. Yeah, I mean,
they're in like Central Asia, right? Aren't they like in, you know, the Black Sea kind of area and like, you know, around?
Maybe, maybe that's where they are. I'm not sure exactly where the Isle of the Lotus Eaters is supposed to be, like in terms of, you know, like.
But that's the kind of thing. Is like maybe if you sail around back in antiquity, like you land on an island and everyone's just like in it, like has gone mad, like eating like mushrooms all the time, and like they're not going to write down their history. They'll probably like totally fall apart into kind of like a Lord of the Flies, like, you know, mania. But like maybe that just happens sometimes to like certain tribes. They go mad, and just like eat too many shrooms, and like they try to have Burning Man forever and live in like an intentional like autonomous community. But then like there's like a Prostasia guy there that wants to create like a temporary autonomous zone so he can like do, you know, and then it all just goes downhill from there. I could
totally
see that right. I could see that as historically viable. Like I'm totally not against that. But I think the way that people try to like retcon it today.
People eat mushrooms, so like obviously like it's not like something that never occurred. That's not. But I think that it is interesting, I mean, maybe our previous guest or previous caller, I think Matt K. Ultra, was it? We were talking about, sort of the wokeness issue. I feel like maybe, when people are like, they're trying to make it seem like there were black people in Europe in the past, or like what, like I feel like maybe this is something where I feel like, obviously I don't think that they're entirely wrong. Like I'm sure that there's something to it. But in this case, I wonder if like there's a little bit of like wishful thinking. It reminds me of this thing where like, someone had found like a medieval Islamic like marriage certificate or like a nikah record that seemed to suggest like, to them, it suggested like, two men being married or something, but it really was just like a misreading of the Arabic. And it could be like I feel like there might be one of those things where like obviously there are people who are very into psilocybin and into the idea of these mushrooms as being like they worship them basically. They're their god. They've been diabolically ensnared by the mushroom webs. And
no, I mean because
think about the fairy circle. That's a great example. There's mushrooms. Wisdom in the image of the fairy circle. If you go into it, you might get pulled into Tirnanag and you might never come back. There's a certain kind of wisdom embedded there, I think. And I think that is like some of these people are like the ants that get colonized by the mushroom and they get mind controlled to like go up to the top of the tree so that like a bird will eat them to like spread the mushroom in the feces or something. Like
people have cats get toxoplasmosis.
Yeah,
no, just not like saying all that. I know there's some lovely cat owning listeners out there. I'm not saying you're all mind controlled by your cat. There's a little guy. Look at him. Meow. Oh, look, he's so cute. I'm not.
Let's not shitcoat what I'm saying with anti-cat polemic. I am very pro cat. I'm saying that some of these like pro fungus like academics are colonizing their brain by mushrooms. And they love them and they just want them to have like created all religion and like to kneel before the mushroom altar and worship them. So
I mean that like Alex Jones has gone on rants about that, like about how the Aztecs were like they'd go insane and then they'd all take mushrooms, they'd give the guy mushrooms who's about to be sacrificed and then like rip his heart out, and everyone was just like having a huge Burning Man like mass ritual time, and like then they'd like place over his head or something.
My thing is like, is that true or is that bullshit? Like, is this
I don't know.
Being exaggerated? That's my thing. Or we see Alex Jones using it in a racist way, like portraying, the Aztecs as being like these drug addicts who are like, or like these psychedelic maniac, like Mansonites or whatever.
To be fair, he's usually comparing that with like this is what the globalists really believe in. Like this is they're basically an Aztec death cult.
I mean, that was a whole. God. Yeah, like on the wokeness, that's like the kind of thing where it's like, they're making our kids like chant things to like Aztec deities.
Oh, there was that thing in California recently where like there was some school where they had to chant like I definitely tweeted about it at some point.
I remember this. This.
We checked it out, and it like technically is true. Like they were chanting to like the god of like human sacrifice or something like that.
No,
and they were like, we love like this, but I think somebody even brought that up.
The god of human sacrifice.
No, you're right. I'm getting it way wrong.
God of human sacrifice.
I'm re-pissing off. Like somebody took issue who I think somebody who does like know about like indigenous religious practices and like
well I mean even
America
I was like bothered by that because like it was like kind of bullshit. Like it was like I remember like one of those like guys whose like entire grift is like to complain about like the wokeness like culture war bullshit, like had some article called like The Return of the Gods, and it was about how like they're making our kids like bow to an Aztec altar, but like it was like some kind of like and again, like, are these things like universally like great? Like, do they really like help? Like, I don't know, but like, it was just like kind of based on some like 60s thing of like
it was super new agey, like again it's
Latino like pride, like kind of, or
it's like offensive, but like not in the way that like the super anti-woke people are like offended by it, which is like for them I mean, I think a lot of it probably comes to like, oh, you can't say God in school, but it's just like they're bound to be offended by that. But like the real thing is like even the people adopting it for like a good purpose. I feel like this is like a problem with like the wokesters that doesn't get talked about enough, is like how they're kind of like, they are kind of committing microaggressions sometimes, like when they're trying to like center like different people. It's like in this weird kind of way where they're like cherry picking like date. They're going through like finding like, oh, what's an Aztec deity? Okay, yeah. And then like cherry picking it and then making up like songs to sing that like have nothing to do with that religious tradition and like completely misunderstand it. And then the conservatives get mad because you're singing about like an Aztec anything.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know if like, I feel like it probably was like some kind of like indigenous or like a Latin X person who came up with that idea, and it was like probably supposed to be like a, I remember hearing about this like a little bit, trying to find it again, like, but all I'm seeing are like articles about like how, you know, they're making us worship pagan gods. So it's like hard to find. But I remember it was like some kind of like education like program that like was devised. And like the names were like meant to symbolize something, you know, like they're meant to symbolize like some kind of values or whatever. I remember like that was the idea behind them.
I'm sorry to interject, if I may, on Howler's question. But to go back to where you started with Wasson, you know, I looked it up, and there is some pretty interesting history there. If you don't mind, you know, you guys are going on some great tangents. I hate to interrupt.
No, go. That was who I was interested in. R. Gordon Wasson was the other
between them. Yeah.
Yes, he was the other big player in this whole thing. So yeah, please do go. I didn't realize he was the vice president for public relations at J.P. Morgan and Company.
Whoa, I didn't see that.
I like it's right on the top of his Wikipedia. In the course of his work, funded by the Central Intelligence Agency, he made contributions to the fields of ethnobotany, botany, and anthropology. And like it's like career, banking industry, ethnomycology, subtab, CIA funding. It's like, just like, but this guy, okay, sorry, like, please go off. Like, he is, he's a huge sus lord, but tell us why.
Wow. You know, I actually, his profile was the one thing I'd yet to click on, but I was just going to mention his relation to, well, you know, in 1960, there was the, you know, Tim Leary's project at Harvard, the Harvard psilocybin project. Have you guys gone into that? Probably, yeah.
I think we talked about, we brought it up before. We haven't done like a deep dive on his like very early years, but I remember that was his first thing where then he got fired, right? For like giving it to undergrad students. You know, he got like kicked out after a couple years for allegedly like giving it to students, which blah, blah, blah. But
also, you know, he was going down back to Wasson. He was going down to Mexico with Roger Heim, who later went on to be the president of an IUCN, the International Union for Conservation of Nature. And their president currently, you know, has received some funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But beyond that, who was it? The Albert Hoffman, who worked at this laboratory in Switzerland.
Sandoz.
Sandoz. Yeah. It sounds like you guys are familiar. That I'm just happening upon this now. It all seemed very sus. That's what I might say. But I'm sorry. It seems like I'm going over past history.
No. I mean, we haven't. There's so many layers to like these people that were like the proselytizers, the little Johnny Appleseeds, that we've sort of like made passing like little dives into a number of them, including like Al Hubbard and like Augustus Owsley Stanley. And I think we did talk about Leary a lot in the Grateful Dead, and the second part of our Grateful Dead episode. Though that was more about like where he ended up in the 70s and maybe getting like lobotomied and like MK'd at Vacaville prison. But going back, I do remember hearing all this stuff about R. Gordon Wasson and just like how much it was his article in 1957, which was published in Life magazine, called Seeking the Magic Mushroom, which introduced psychoactive mushrooms to a wide audience for the first time. And so like he's actually the guy that was like, you know, made this a big story for the first time. And I think he was like hanging out with Carlos Castaneda, and he actually wrote his wife was Valentina Pavlovna Gwerkin, a pediatrician who was Russian American, and they wrote a thing called Mushrooms, Russia, and History in 1957. Okay, so they're trying to like find like ancient Siberian rituals they could like use to like psyop the Soviets with like mushroom worship. But they did end up going to Mexico, and here's what it was. Maria Sabina was the curandera in Mexico that like I think both him and Carlos Castaneda claimed was like, ooh, like she's the one who taught me all this wisdom, blah blah blah. So she allowed the Wassons to participate in a ritual and taught them about the uses and effects of psilocybin. In I guess this is a Mazatec mushroom ritual. It's one of the indigenous peoples in Mexico, and Sabina let him, Wasson, take her picture on the condition that he keep it private, but Wasson nonetheless published the photo along with Sabina's name and the name of the community where she lived. Wow, doxed her. Very cool. And I think, and so he did that in 1956. His expedition was literally funded by the CIA's MK Ultra subproject 58, which was revealed by documents obtained by John Marks under FOIA. And the documents state that Wasson was, quote, an unwitting participant in the project. But like,
I guess the last thing I'd like to mention is just that Sandoz in Basel, Switzerland, which I'm sure you guys know is the center of so much intrigue. But they later went on to they were the ones who he worked there and he isolated the compound. But they also released things like clozapine and a few other big drugs. Just interesting that it's all from that same place.
I want us to do a deeper dive one of these days into that, because I've heard recently that even the official story of Albert Hofmann like accidentally discovering LSD in like 1943, and like he was riding his bicycle and like everything went crazy. Like that's like supposed to be the official narrative of like when we first discovered it, but it turns out that it seems like there's a lot of evidence actually that they discovered it considerably earlier than that. Like maybe I think in the 30s or the 20s or something like that. And they were already like tinkering around with it. And that was kind of like the public facing story, the myth to kind of kick it off. But they actually were like maybe invested in it a little bit longer. And then I don't know if like the Nazis to whatever extent, like they were aware because, they're right there in Switzerland. Or, if like IG Farben and all those big companies were like, interested in psychedelics, because then you get that in kind of MK Ultra where you get these like Nazi scientists popping up who are doing really fucked up shit and kind of converging with like the LSD research and like how to weaponize it and manipulate people. So it's just like it's a real dark web that is shrouded in kind of like misdirection and yeah.
Sorry to interject. Howler, great question. I'll mute myself again.
Right on.
So I was just
go ahead.
Yeah, I think we'll probably be winding down soon. But I was just reading more about the Mayan / Aztec problem, because part of it was like the Inlach thing, which actually was a controversy back in 2010. Which is like a Mayan concept that like the chant that they included in the curriculum was based on. It's like this thing called Nahil Olin, I think. Nahui Olin, which is like a curriculum formula. And they use those like Aztec god names like Tezcatlipoca, Quetzalcoatl, Huitzilpochtli, Huitzilopochtli, and Xipe Totec to like represent concepts. Like which in a way like most gods like do usually, but I think that it's like of course like a lot of Aztec deities did receive human sacrifices, although there is no deity like specifically of human sacrifice. Like
it might be the Huitzilopochtli. I'm not going to microaggress and say it, but the god of sun and war might be like by nature of being a god of war would have been a god that maybe they sacrificed like prisoners of war too. But like it's a stretch to say that he's like the god of human sacrifice or something like that.
I'm sure that all these gods received human sacrifices. But again, as we talked about this topic in the past, like the cultural institution of like human sacrifice, although like heinous and like horrible and like definitely like kufr and blasphemous, like it is not like real, like, you know, practically speaking, like the brutal, like, the like dehumanization and like violence and murder that was inflicted by like Europeans in like cruel and unusual ways on like their enemies, like, you know, taking a prisoner and then sacrificing them to your god, like in a brutal and like insane manner. Like that's really not so different from like not taking a prisoner, but like, you know, forcing that, like torturing them in some kind of way, or you know, imprisoning someone and like for a crime and torturing them, or you know, what have you. Like, so I think that's some of the, and I mean, yeah, like the Aztecs were like very brutal, but a lot of the Mexico like around them viewed them that way as well, and they ended up becoming like victims of this whole thing that then like the brutality of the Aztecs is used to justify. So like they were like hated by everyone around them in the same way that the Spanish like were hated by their fellow Spanish for like the way they treated the Native Americans. But yeah, but anyway, like yeah, it is interesting. It's actually like I think it comes out of a poem by Luis Valdez, who was like one of the kind of founders of like the Chicano theater, like in California, like the Chicano theater movement. So yeah, I mean there's a poem called Pensamiento Serpentino that's like called you know, it means serpent thought, and like, you know, Quetzalcoatl being the winged serpent. So it actually brings together Christian and Mesoamerican symbolism. I think it even says like Quetzalcoatl is Jesus. So I don't know. But I guess,
well, I mean, according to the
I don't know.
The official complaint that was filed against like the LA Unified School District, I think it was a Latino parent that objected to this curriculum, who I would probably assume is a Christian. And like, yeah, exactly. But they had a lot of problems, like in terms of like inclusion, like different groups not feeling like they were included, so they had to go back to the drawing board a bunch of times. It was like very drawn out
like
process.
A lot of the way these schools are like you know, schools are definitely like generally like their curriculums are biased towards like a certain point of view. So like trying to include like one group, like, you know, and figuring out how to do it like can be, or trying to incorporate different perspectives can be like very difficult. I mean, and I'm sure like a lot of people complained, and like there's no like monolithic opinion like among everyone. I mean, that doesn't mean that like, you know, it wasn't like something that could be an like appropriate part of the curriculum in some way, or that it was like a harmful message necessarily, like any more than like a lot of stuff that's taught in school is like harmful. I mean, but yeah, like I don't know, but I just wanted to like clarify like what that was all about, because I do remember that issue. I don't know even how that came up, but I guess it was through the hallucinogenic
mushrooms and things like that.
Like, Alex Jones talking about the you know, they're making your kids do
I found just like a staggering website called exposingsatanism.org. It's like a very like GeoCities website that says, you know, California education system set to resurrect ball worship. It goes on like absolute rant about how, you know, they're chanting the names of Aztec gods once worshipped in human sacrifice rituals. Like,
wow, I'm seeing child indoctrination to the occult. Mix your potion and make your pet in a witchcraft cauldron. They're up there. Yeah, here we go.
At the top of the page says, "Stop, drop, and roll will not work in hell."
True.
Galatians 4:16. Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Warning: 666 is coming. That's really a fun website. This is on the real bleeding edge, but I'm just gonna put it in the voice chat for everybody.
Pharmakia or pharmakeia means witchcraft and sorcery. Strong's number G5 3031, Galatians 5:20 witchcraft, Revelation 9:22 sorceries, Revelation 18:23 sorceries. In 1963, the Italian film Omicron was released. It was about an alien taking over a person's body to recon the planet for a future invasion. Demon possession. It was produced by Lux Films. I can already tell where this is going. Which translates to Lucifer. I mean, no, it translates to
same root.
Light.
I guess.
Well, you know, it's part of the word Lucifer. Yeah.
Light, basically. Don't trust the light. Tricked by the light.
Trickbythelight.com.
I see sidebar here. There is no doubt the Travis Scott concert was indeed a satanic ritual.
There is no doubt. A capital is, right.
Yeah, the Omicron connection to witchcraft
us
Satanism.
With spiritual discernment. No, it was. See a companion video at the end. Oh, I wish I could.
Wow,
see the
no, they got
video,
Bible quotes for all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah. all this kind of stuff. But anyways, like if you want to have fun,
they're cross posting from Vigilant Citizen here.
Okay.
Like,
there's one article is just called "Witch Talk?" ?
Yeah, they don't like.
This is like some weird doppelganger, like subliminal jihad, like website of.
This is like, this is what
like weird. This is if we actually were evangelical Christians, like this is.
This is what people think. Like people think this is our website. Like they probably think we're mentioning this now, like to promote our other website.
Yeah, they think like this PayPal tag right here, like we wrote that if you appreciate what this ministry is doing to expose the fake Christians, Satanists, witches, communist, socialist Democrats, rhino Republicans, and the assault on our conservative true Christian values, please consider a small donation. This ministry is not only under attack by the capital E enemy, we are not under attack from supposed Christians also. I mean, yeah.
This is interesting. If I were the devil...
Yeah,
welcome, my good and faithful sir. I'm watching a video called If I Were the Devil on exposingsatanism.org right now. Witchcraft and the NWO. Darkness. Okay, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
I just wanted to know what they would do if they were the devil. It's kind of a weird thing to think about, but okay.
Yeah. Well, if this website actually believes that Bill Gates is injecting a microchip that will a human implantable quantum dot microneedle vaccination delivery system that is definitely bad, but might also it's called luciferase. No.
Oh yeah, luciferase is like a it is like a light bearing thing, but I don't think the vaccines contain that. I think that they I remember hearing about this because like luciferase is a chemical that's named that because it's like produces bioluminescence, so it makes it easier to like experiment with stuff. But I remember hearing this like related to the vaccine.
Interesting.
But I forget like if it actually is in it or if it was just like used to.
All I'm seeing it's like yeah, like I'm seeing a lot of claims and like fact checks and things like that. I guess it's autoluminescent. Yeah, it's like a Firefly thing that I guess he thinks they're going to use it to like track you because you'll be glowing all the time. Or something like that, or it's just the mark of the beast system.
But I guess it's not in the vaccines, but it is in other things. So watch out.
Bottom line,
I'm much more sussed out by the giant like Catholic Church telescope that's named Lucifer, because
it's very sus.
It's one thing to call something like an enzyme that like carries light luciferase. It's another thing, like if you're an explicitly like Catholic organization and you're like naming your telescope Lucifer, like to be cheeky. I don't know.
Yes.
But I'm actually surprised by that because it's pretty down to earth for like this. I would think that they would be more into the kind of like mark of the beast, like it'll steal your soul type
I think
stuff.
they're kind of they definitely they believe this is the end times. We're on the front line of the end times. Flight number 777 is preparing for takeoff. Yeah, I think they believe that it also like steals your soul.
The Georgia Guidestones openly proclaim that the human population of our planet must be reduced to a small fraction of its present level. Hussein Obama's old comrade from Chicago, the spoiled rich kid's communist terrorist Bill Ayers, advocated the extermination of millions of Americans. And many of the false flag operations of the elites' acts of mass murder are simply so obvious, so in your face, that only the terminally mindless and willfully blind, unfortunately nearly 2/3 of the population, could fail to see the truth. A good example is 9/11. There you go. The NWO crowd always hide everything in plain sight right in front of us where most people never look. All right, sorry. Next call.
He's Bane-pilled. Anyways.
All
right. I think it might be a good time to start wrapping this show up.
Yeah, word.
Big thanks to those who are still in the room. Hieronymus, Young Howler.
Yeah, everyone for calling in. This was... I don't know if I would call it like a definitely there were some bumps along the way, but overall a success, we got it to work. It
are going to Hell in a Bucket, but I think we enjoyed the ride. I mean, like we went to Hell in a Bucket
for real on it. Yeah. On exposingsatanism.org, my new daily read.
But yeah, thanks to everybody who called in today and helped us celebrate the bumpy start to this new year, 2022, like 2020 again. Hopefully not, but we'll post this in a few days. But Until next time, dear listeners, stay vigilant.
Peace.